Life is not a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, airplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve the mystery, burner, or rewrite history. DuckTales, woo! Burn, every day they're out there making DuckTales, woo! Tales of daring, good riding, good luck tales. Boom ba doom ba doom doom. All right, I think I got it this time. I think I do. Nobody's here yet, and I don't know. Oh wait, there's a share button up here. Sweet. Now I can copy the link. There we go. See, it all worked out at the end, guys. So just copy this link. Tales of daring. Alright, it sounds pretty good to me. I paste this. And then I'll paste this. Let's end Disney Week on a high note, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right! This is going to work. Hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. That's right, Disco Spider. I'm live, baby. I'm live in the. I'm alive in the thrive. That's not something people say. Live in the thrive. I've never heard that one before. All right, but yeah, I'll just give like everybody like 5 minutes to get on in and join the event in question. But Disco Spider. How does it sound? Am I lagging at all? How's it looking so far? Am I good? Am I bad? Hello, Miyako. Yeah, this is, man, it feels so weird to do another live chat again. Any Disney related letters to read? No. This isn't a BCG mail video. We're not doing that. This is where we're gonna basically stick it to Collider for their BS ranking list of every Disney animated film. I'm gonna make my own now. What's up, Wesley? Everybody, so everyone can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me, right? Yes, no, maybe. I'm reading the live chat, so if you can, let me know if you can hear me. How do I look? I look sexy, like the afro. What's going on? Oh, by the way, I did put like the slow mode so that you guys aren't constantly spamming the comment section. Looks good so far. By the way, I love your energy on your channel. I found out about you. Well, welcome, Montel. I appreciate you coming. All right, sounds good. A little echoey. I can hear outside a little. Besides that, you should be as beautiful as ever. I'm sorry, man. I didn't bring my microphone, so because I'm actually not in my apartment right now. I'm actually back in my original room, interestingly enough. So, well, there's a lot of people here or starting to flood in, so I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy. And I'm here with, sadly, the final video for BCG Disney Week. But it's a very special one. As you can already tell, not only is it live and in color, but we will be creating our very own ranking list of every Disney animated film. So, what spurred this video? What made me want to create my own ranked list of every Disney animated film? Well, if you've been following BCG Disney Week for the past few days, you would know that back on Wednesday, I did a reaction video to Collider's every Disney animated films ranked list, and needless to say, I still can't cuss because it's Disney Week, but it's a piece of beep, you know what I'm saying? I broke my one. The list was so bad, guys. I broke my cardinal rule of not cussing during Disney Week. It was that bad of a list that I'm like, you know what? F you, dude. This is terrible. So instead of constantly crying about how bad their list is, someone actually suggested in the comment section, hey, instead of reacting to their list and criticizing their list, why don't you make a list of your own? And I was like, yeah, maybe I should make a list of my own. Maybe I should rank all the Disney animated films. And I even asked you all on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube itself, would you be interested in seeing a ranked, or would you be interested in seeing me rank all of the Disney animated films? And 90%, I kid you not, 90% of you said, hell yes. So because the majority of you wanted this to happen, I made it so. You can say crud. You know what, car bender? I will say crud. Oh, and by the way, my girlfriend and her cousin are in the chat. So if you can do me a favor, just block them, kick them out of the chat so that they don't keep bothering me. You're the best, guys. You're the best. So how are we gonna do this? You're probably wondering, how am I going to rank the videos live in front of you? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have something to show you guys. Boom! Aha! You see that? Sorry, there's a bit of a delay for me, so I don't know if you guys saw it yet. So let me just give it a second and see. But you probably can see on the screen that it says, what's it called? The ranked. What did I put? I don't even remember what I put. Hold on for a second. Let me go back to this. BCG's every Disney animated films ranked. Can everybody see that? Hold on. What? I'm not going. That's not where I want to go. I'm assuming no. That's a nope. Wait, I think it's gonna happen. Hey, yes, you can see it. Hell yeah. Okay, perfect. Oh, okay, this is going well. This reminds me of Zoom. You know what's funny, Annie? This is kind of like how I do my classes when I'm teaching. This is kind of how I do it. So let me just go ahead. This is Tony's school project. I kid you not, I use Google Slides in my class. I couldn't figure out how to list them out in a way that you guys can see it and all that stuff. So I just said, why don't I just put it on Google Slides? I'm used to doing that. I guess I can do that. And so that's how I ended up doing this. So with all that said, let's get to the creation of the ranked list. I'm actually going to show you my process of creating this rankings list. We're going to go from 58 all the way down to number 1. I hope it doesn't take longer than 2 hours, because I want to end BCG Disney Week exactly at 12 a.m. midnight for you guys. Kind of like, Cinderella, the shoe falls, and, the magical night is over kind of thing. Teacher, why does Tony get to present first? I have the remote, mother. I can't cuss yet. Anyway, so unlike Collider, I actually have some parameters. I have some requirements as to what gets placed in what rank. The problem that I have with Collider is that they weren't very clear on the selection process in the rankings. What placed a certain movie over another? Why was a certain movie in the lower part of the list rather than the higher part? Was it because of the animation? Was it because of the animation? Was it because of the characters, the writing? Was it because of the voice acting? Was it because of the era in time? So I'm going to actually clarify my reasonings for the rankings or the placements of these Disney films. For one, I am taking into consideration the quality of the film overall. This comes down to animation, storytelling, characters, voice acting, basically the entire film as it is. The second thing that I'm going to consider when it comes to the placement of some of these films is their cultural relevance, not just to Disney's history, but to pop culture in general. Did this film have a major impact? Did it change the studio? Did it help the studio in any way? Did it inspire copycats? Did people try to replicate this type of film or try to bank off of its success? Is it ingrained in the public consciousness? Now, when you think of Disney, is this a film that you automatically go to when you think Disney? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, none of us, when we think Disney, none of us say, you know what I think about? Home on the Range. That's the first movie that comes to my mind. So it's definitely not going to be in the top tier. Tony here teaching the history of Disney animated films. You know what's funny, Claude? I was actually going to give you guys some fun facts about certain parts of Disney's history while I'm doing this. So technically, you're not wrong. Yeah, no bull crud political reasons. I don't know. I mean, as we all know, Mulan is such a pivotal symbol for transgenderism and trans rights. Am I right, guys? Or should I say ladies? Am I right, guys and ladies? What terrible piece of don't force me to cuss, guys, please. Don't make me do that. All right. So it looks like we got about 34 viewers. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Hopefully we can get more people to come into the chat as we go on. I'm wondering if I should get some water before I start. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get 2 bottles of water and I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. Oh, put my water's down here. So if ever I get parched, I can just take a quick swig and here we go. So with all that said, with the parameters set, let's jump right into the list, shall we? So what I'm going to do is, as you can see on the screen, I have basically my Google Slides, and whenever we reach a number, I'm going to place a picture in the slide itself, and then I'll talk a bit about it, then we'll move on to the next slide. All right. So, starting with number 58, the bottom of the list. I mean, come on. If we all don't know which one this is, I feel bad for you. So let me find that picture real quick. Let's see. All right. So, number 58. Come on, guys. We all know number 58 is, of course, Home on the Range. This piece of crap. This is the worst Disney film I've never seen. I actually have not seen this film, but I've seen enough from other people, and I've seen the trailers, and the concept alone is just like, it doesn't scream, yeah, you know what? This is definitely a movie that Disney was really into making, or the Walt Disney Animation Studios was like, man, this is our film right here. You know, it almost feels like desperation that they were trying to figure out what to do and they couldn't think of anything good. So like, hey, what do we do? What about cows? And they have to save the farm. Cuba Gooding Jr. plays a horse. Roseanne Barr fittingly plays a cow. You know, oh man, what a piece of crap, dude. And you talk about Disney hitting, like, this is the lowest I think Disney has ever gone. And this is including, like, this is including the dark ages for Disney during the 70s and 80s. You know, this is even including all of those racial stereotype or those racist and stereotypical films, caricatures that they did in the past. Because while yes, those have not aged well, I will not defend them. There are qualities to those films outside of the racist undertones or outside of the racist characters or caricatures that are still pretty good. You know, Lady and the Tramp, while you do have the racist Siamese cats, you still have one of the best love stories Disney's ever told. All right? With Home on the Range, you got nothing. There's nothing to this film. It's a, if ever I saw one, goose eggs. All right? So that's number 58. Now let's go down to number 57. What could number 57 be? Well, you know, that's actually a good question. So what I'm doing, by the way, is I actually have all of the posters for all the Disney films. And I'm basically looking through them and I'm trying to figure out which one do I want to put next. So I think for number 52, I'm going to go ahead and put, where is it? Is it here? Okay, I think I found it. No, that's not it. Where is it? Come on. Oh, there it is. So it was in the section. So for number 57, I'm going to put the Black Cauldron. All right. Now, in defense of this film, I think the reason that it doesn't come dead last for me is that unlike Home on the Range, I do feel as though there was some passion to this film. Like there was somebody with an actual vision that wanted to create something that was different. And as I mentioned just a few hours ago in my Into the Void video, I mentioned that this was a big risk for Disney. You know, this is totally, I wouldn't say out of character. What's the phrasing that I used in the video? I said that this was off-brand there. Black Cauldron was very off-brand for Disney at the time. Because during the 80s, many of you are too young to know this, but during the 80s, there was this big dark tone to movies. Like films were much darker in the late 70s, early 80s. Kind of like how in the late 2000s, early 2010s, we had that shift to dark and gritty type films thanks to The Dark Knight, doing the whole gritty, realistic superhero film. They had a similar trend back in the late 70s, early 80s. Everybody wanted dark, scary films or films with darker tones to them. Nobody wanted the kiddie stuff anymore, like The Fox and the Hound or Winnie the Pooh. Everything was much darker in tone. And so Disney was trying to follow that trend, but the thing is they could never fully embrace it. It wasn't really who they are, at least the Walt Disney Animation Studios. They would go on later to make these darker films, but they would be in their live action department, not much their animation department. That's not to say that Disney doesn't have its fair share of dark moments, especially later on in the 80s and the 90s. I'll still never forget when Clayton hung himself. Like you even see him hanging like the little shadow, and it's like twitching, or not twitching, but it's like swaying in the wind. That's terrifying. So with Black Cauldron, I respect what they were trying to do. I understand what they were trying to do. The problem is that while it had a lot of potential to be something great, the reality of the situation is that the execution was done poorly. All right, the characters are just not interesting. It has one of the most annoying Disney characters of all time. And I'm not going to mention his name here because just to say his name breathes life back into him. I don't want to talk about that guy. All right, the hero is bland. The princess is annoying. The villain, while he is kind of scary looking, didn't really stand out that much. It's an overall bad film that had a lot of potential. It's a film of potential that wasn't fully reached. That's why I'm hoping in the future someone will look back at the Black Cauldron and say, you know what? That's actually not a bad concept for a film. Why don't we make a live action remake and actually take some chances, take some risks with the storytelling? I'd be 100% on board with that. So that's number 57. Let's go to number 56. Now with number 56, where do I want to put you? Number 56. Hold on. I gotta move this bad boy to come on, man. You know what? I'm just gonna name this ZZ. Okay. All right, let's try this. Sorry, I'm trying to get my pictures organized. But get down here. Are you freaking kidding me? Ugh, come on, man. Oh, you know what I should do? I should open this as a new file. New window. There you go. There we go. That's how I'll do it from now on. Okay. So anyway, back to number 56. Number 56 is Chicken Little. All right. It is kind of strange that I put it so low on the list because I actually defended Chicken Little when it came to Collider's ranking for the film. They said that this was the worst Disney film. And while it isn't one of Disney's best, it is one of Disney's worst. I personally didn't think that it was the worst of the worst. Because in a way, even though the story and the characters and even the look of the film has not held up over the years, Chicken Little was proof that Disney can still that was weird. Disney can still compete in the animation marketplace. All right, they can go toe to toe with other animation companies that were more 3D oriented. They can basically keep their hat in the game, basically, okay? But even though that is the case, Chicken Little still suffers from having a story that is basically the boy who cried wolf, and then it just came true. And then they have a main character that's kind of pathetic and boring. His dad is awful. I kind of agree with Mr. Ender in that department when it comes to the father. Most of the side characters are forgettable. It's an overall dull and forgettable film that we really don't need to think about again outside of the fact that it showed that Disney can still compete in the animation marketplace. With that said, let's go to number 55. What should we put in number 55? Let me think. What would be number 55 in my list here? Oh, I know which one's number 55. Hold on, let me just move this out of the way. Get out of here. Number 55, Bolt. Can you even name anything remarkable about Bolt? Like, honestly speaking, can you name anything remarkable about Bolt? You can't. You can't. The best thing the film had going for it is the sassy cat. That's it. John Travolta as Bolt. I mean, really anybody could have voiced Bolt. Anybody could have voiced him. Ryan Reynolds could have voiced Bolt and it wouldn't have changed anything. Well, no, Ryan Reynolds is more likable than John Travolta, though. He might make the character a bit more likable, but he wouldn't change the overall quality of the film. Miley Cyrus, she was coming off of her Hannah Montana phase. She was still on that Hannah Montana high, and they're like, hey, let's use her before she gets too old and she's gonna start rebelling against the Disney brand that she had always embodied. And she's gonna be I Can't Be Tamed and rolling in like a wrecking ball. I feel like every girl that has ever been like the Disney it girl, they always go through that phase of rebellion. The only two that I can think of that didn't do that was Hilary Duff, although she did end up doing more movies where she was more promiscuous, I would say. And Christina, what's her name? Something Ramona. Christy Carlson Ramono, something like that. The girl that was the voice of Kim Possible. I don't remember her having a rebellious face. But back to Bolt. It's just unremarkable. Sure, the concept of the story had potential to be something cool, but again, it's that execution, man. The story about a dog who's the star of a TV show called Bolt, and he in the TV show he has superpowers. He gets really close with this human actor, with the human actress, and thinks that that's his real owner, and goes on this country ride trek to go find her. You know what? I don't even remember who was the villain in that film. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I've seen this film and I don't remember anything. The only thing I remember is the concept. I remember there was a scene where he barks and his bark caused like this sonic boom effect. And then when he met the cat, she was like, "Are you okay? You're not in reality, friend." So yeah, Bolt definitely belongs at number 55. Let's go to number 54. What am I going to place in number 54? Let me look and see. Number 54. I want to put, what do I want to put? Number 54. Okay. This might shock a couple of you, but at number 54, I'm putting Robin Hood. I know there are some people that are nostalgic for this film, but even as a kid, I remember really not getting into this film. The bear reminded me way too much of Baloo, and that wasn't an accident. They reused or they recycled a lot of animation from past Disney films to make Robin Hood. It's very well known. It is a very well known fact that when they were creating Robin Hood, this was around the time, this is in the 70s. So Disney has been dead for about 5 to 10 years, and they were lacking direction. They were lacking somebody to guide the ship. Disney had always been there to guide the ship, and now he's gone. Nobody's guiding the ship. What do? Let's just throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks. And one of those things that they threw at the wall was Robin Hood. Just another retelling of Robin Hood, but this time with animals. You know, Robin Hood is a fox, which I'll give them this. That's a clever choice to make the this thief character be a fox, as fox are known for their cunning. They're known for being thieves. They're like raccoons, but cooler looking, right? Baloo, or I don't know, was the Baloo character in this film, was he Little John or was that someone else? I don't remember. I honestly do not remember much of this film. I do remember the ending when they thought he died and he jumped into the river, but he ends up being alive anyway. It's just such an unremarkable film. And the fact that they had to use previous animation from other Disney films really places it at this list. It's lacking in originality, not only in its story, but even in its animation. It shows pure laziness and a lack of direction for Disney. This is one of the lowest points in Disney history. And that's why I think Robin Hood deserves to be at number 54. I know some of you might like it. It might be a nostalgic film for you, but for me, it was not, and it's just an example of some of the low points of Disney's history. All right, with that said, let's go to number 53. I will take a break when I get halfway through the list. So halfway through the list is, let's see, there's a 4, 1, 18. So when I get to number 19, I guess that can't be the halfway point. I'm doing 2 divided by 58. 2 divided by 58 Oh no, 29, 29, 29. So when I get to 29, I'll go to the comment section and see what you guys are saying. But right now, let's get back to the list. So, with that said, let's put Robin Hood in the Shadow Realm. What is number 53 for me? Let's see. What could be number 53? Number 53 will be. Hmm, no, not that one. Not yet. I will put. What am I going to put for number 53? Um. Yeah. Yeah, I think this one. Number 53, Sword in the Stone. This is kind of the same case as Robin Hood. Now, I don't remember them ever talking about them using recycled animation in Sword in the Stone, but if you talk about unremarkable, this is one of them. I remember nothing about Sword in the Stone. The one thing I remember about Sword in the Stone is the famous Excalibur scene where young Arthur pulls the sword out of the stone. It's the title of the film, right? I know Merlin's in it. There's a scene where he's like fighting with this woman and they're like turning each other into animals or something like that. But this is one of those Disney films that a lot of people forget was a Disney film. And I don't blame them because, again, it's just so unremarkable. It does nothing new. It presents nothing iconic outside of what was already iconic, the pulling of the sword. Yeah, it's just, I have nothing really to say about it. It's just really forgettable. And I guess that's really all that needs to be said. All right, let's go to 52 now. What is number 52 for me? Number 52, Fox and the Hound. No, I'm just kidding. We're not putting the Fox and the Hound that low on this list. Are you kidding me? Let's see. What am I going to put at number 52? Yeah, I think I'll put this one at number 52. I'm putting Dinosaur at number 52. I kind of agree with Collider when it comes to this film. Overall, it's just The Land Before Time with better graphics and a less interesting main character. I don't even remember the main character's name. I know that he was raised by lemurs because in that beautiful opening scene where the kid is like running, or the kid dinosaur is running through the field across all these different dinosaurs and ends up in this one part that's the tall grass, not tall grass, but like it's heavily forested. And she gets a sense that something's in there watching her, and she's right, because out comes the Koranatar. It starts chasing and getting an attack, and in the fracas, one of the iguanodon's eggs lands in the water, gets picked up by a pterodactyl, and then it gets dropped. I'm surprised that egg didn't crack after all the things it's been through, right? You know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the scene in Prince of Egypt. You remember in Prince of Egypt where Moses' mother puts it in the Nile, which is probably the dumbest thing she could have thought of? If you really want to hide your baby, why not on top of a camel in a caravan heading out of the city? You put it in the Nile, one of the most dangerous rivers in the world? Hippos, crocodiles, other Egyptians. It's the deepest river in the world. Or, no, the Amazon is the deepest river in the world. It's one of the deepest rivers, but for a baby, it's deep. He's not going to know how to swim. You're lucky that weaved basket stayed afloat for as long as it did. And then the basket ended up flowing right into the Pharaoh's chambers, because that kid would have died from exposure had it not been for that. Real negligence on the behalf of that mother. But back to Dinosaur. Visually speaking, it was very impressive for its time. I would dare say that it still is kind of impressive. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I think if I did go back to it, I would still be impressed that they made such a film in 2000. It was daring. It was definitely a huge risk. But if you were to say, hey, you remember the movie Dinosaur by Disney? They're not going to remember what you're talking about. They're going to look at you like, what the hell is Dinosaur? I don't remember. Oh, wait, is it that one where it's like Land Before Time, but the iguanodons are the main characters, and there's like a Sarah type, but she's an old lady, and there's a Littlefoot, but he's not little, it's a gigantic woman. Yeah. And then instead of having a T-Rex, they have a Caranotaur. But other than that, I doubt people would know what I'm talking about. So yeah, 51. We'll put it at 51. Moving on. Put that at number 51. So what would or no, that's number 52. What should I put for number 51? Well, this is where it gets a little harder now, right? So whittling down the list. Who is number 50? Okay. Another one that might be a controversial pick, and I know many people might not like that I put this here, but I'm putting Meet the Robinsons at number 51. All right? Meet the Robinsons at number 51. I can't really say much about the film as I've never seen it fully. I've seen clips. I know the twist, which I thought the twist was interesting. But other than that, like, this is one of those films that, again, most people just don't think about when you think of Disney. It's part of that Disney dead zone that I mentioned many years ago, and for good reason. It's part of a time in Disney where nobody gave a damn and no one really cared about those movies. Meet the Robinsons is one of them. Sure, I know it's been getting a lot of praise in hindsight over the years. Some people are considering it one of the more underrated Disney movies. And while I'm willing to hear arguments about that fact, to me, it still just doesn't stand out as anything really remarkable or something that I personally would like to watch. Nor do I think it had any real social impact or impact on the studio. It just felt like another film that they had to shoot out, because every year they shoot out a film, but they didn't seem to be putting as much of an effort into it. All right, maybe down the line. I had somebody recently ask me the question, has there ever come a point where you went back on a film that you said you wouldn't watch in your why I won't watch videos and you actually ended up watching them? I told that person, as of right now, no, there has not been a film I mentioned in my why I won't watch segments that I ended up watching. But I wouldn't say never. Maybe there'll come a point where one of those things I go, maybe I should give that one a chance. The closest one that I see myself trying to give a chance to is Meet the Robinsons. And maybe I might watch it and I might change my placement, but for now, it's number 51. So, and to wrap it all up, let's finish up with number 50. Who am I going to put at number 50? What am I going to put at number 50? Number 50. Okay, I know what I'm putting at number 50. This is actually the most recent. How do I phrase this properly? This is the youngest film to be placed this low on the list. But number 50 is, what did I do? Winnie the Pooh 2011. I love Winnie the Pooh, and I will say that I mildly enjoyed this film, but you want to talk about a waste of time? Winnie the Pooh 2011 is a waste of time. Why do I say it's a waste of time? It's only an hour and 9 minutes long, 69 minutes long this film is. And in those 69 minutes, there is nothing in there that I would say is theatrically worthy. It's not worthy of a theatrical release. This should have been a straight to DVD release, or it should have premiered on the Disney Channel. It should not have been released right next to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. That's crazy. I mean, it's the whole film is just it's a series of stories. There are 3 stories in total in the film, and that's it. And it's the same types of stories you would see in a Winnie the Pooh story. So to me, I'm just like, so I could have just bought this on DVD or something, or I could have just waited until it got on to the Disney Channel and watched it. This isn't a film that you need to go run out and see immediately. All right? But because it is Winnie the Pooh, and I love Winnie the Pooh, I love Tigger, I love Eeyore, I love Rabbit, I like Owl, I like Kanga and Roo. You know, the little gopher guy I love, Christopher Robin is wonderful. The characters are still charming. They're still really good in the film. It's just this film is highly unremarkable. And it was crazy. It was crazy, the placement that Collider put this movie in. They put it in the high teens. What in the world did this movie do to deserve to be in the high teens? Nothing. The one thing I can say that it did, and it's not even credit to the movie, it's more or less credit to the producers or to the people that were handling who do we get to do what things for the movie, but they hired the how do I phrase it? I hate when I can't think of the way I want to phrase certain things, but they hired the married duo of Robert Lopez and his wife. I think her name is Christina Hans Lopez or something like that. If I got it wrong, I apologize. But Robert Lopez or Bob Lopez, creator of Avenue Q, one of my favorite musicals, as well as a co-creator on the Book of Mormon. In fact, he just got off of his Book of Mormon high to do this movie. And I think by building a relationship with Disney with Winnie the Pooh, it later sprung into what will later become the mega ultra hit that is Frozen. So if there's one credit I can give Winnie the Pooh 2011, it opened the door for Robert Lopez to have a working relationship with Disney. That's it. All right. Now, with the next choice, number 49, it's actually going to be number 49 to 44. And the reason for that is because I am placing all of the compilation films onto this part of the list. So let me go ahead and just, I'm just organizing this, so let me just go to my comps. So comp 1, all right, it's comp 1, comp 2, hopefully I can fit them all in here. Just, whoops, not that. There we go. So comp 1, comp 2. Let me just shrink these a little bit more so I can fit them all on here. All right, comp 1, this is comp 2. All right, what else? Comp 3. Comp 3. Oops. Comp 4. All right, and then 2 more. Let's see if I can bring them in together. 1, 2. All right, come here, you two. And comp 5. Oof, it's gonna be hard to put them all in here. All right, and then here's Melody Time. All right, so here are all of the compilation films. Now, someone mentioned that I was going to be talking history in this video. Well, you're not wrong, because there's actually historical significance to these films. While they're not anything really remarkable as films go, there's a reason for their creation. So, In the mid 40s to the 50s, most of Disney's staff ended up being shipped off to war. Animators, writers, directors, producers, they went off to war. And the people that were left were hired by the army to make propaganda films. That's why you have those famous clips of Donald Duck saying Heil Hitler. That comes from this era, right? And in order to save their thriving theatrical department from basically crumbling for lack of work, they decided to say, okay, let's just take a bunch of these clips from shorts that we've been making on the side, or even get some of the people from the shorts department to just basically bundle together a bunch of shorts to make into a theatrical feature. And that's the case for all of these. Saludos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, Make My Music, Fancy Fun and Fancy Free, Ichabod, and Mr. Toad, and Melody Time. Now, do I think these films are bad? No, not necessarily. They all have something to contribute. There's some fantastic animation in a few of them. I would say Make My Music and Melody Time have the best animation of the six. And Saludos Amigos and The Three Caballeros introduced us to Donald's partners in crime, and it was actually Disney's way of reaching out to a Latin audience, which I think is pretty interesting. All right, but yeah, other than that, none of these films are really all that remarkable, nor are they really remembered to this very day. You know, do I think they're bad? No, but they're just not all that remarkable. But it does hold, they hold a significance in Disney's history, as it shows a period in time when Disney was struggling to make films because there was a war going on. And I think that's why it's important to remember these films. You remember them for their historical content and not really the content of the film itself. Does that make sense? All right. So that's 49 to 44. We got that done. So let's go to 43 now. And let me just go ahead and transfer all of these comp films into my finished pile. Let me just take that. All right, so we're on 43. Which one of these films do I want to put at number 43? Oh, I know where I would put it. Or I know which one I would put. Number 43, Brother Bear. So someone actually pointed this out to me, and I found it very interesting. I actually mentioned Brother Bear in a top 10 list I did many years ago called the Top 10 Most Underappreciated Disney Films. And I believe it was at number 7 or something like that. Now, at the time that I made that video, I still really liked Brother Bear. But over the years, and I hope you guys know this, and I don't have to spell it out for you, but over the years, you know, my opinions about certain films have changed. My opinions about certain anime have changed. My opinions have grown over the years. And I remember about 3 years ago, I went to watch Brother Bear again. And it just was okay. You know, I didn't think it was underappreciated anymore, because to me, it was right where it belonged. It wasn't that great. It basically was Tarzan 2.0, but less interesting. The main character is not as interesting as Tarzan. The visuals are not as interesting as Tarzan. The story, I would say, is on par with Tarzan. The little kid, you know, I get that that's Disney's bread and butter, but my God, it's just so annoying as a kid. It's just so annoying. I did like, I like the story a lot about this young man who learned, or this young boy who learns to be a man by becoming a bear, which is how the film basically wraps up. It's like, oh, he learned his lesson kind of thing. And I thought the conflict of the younger brother thinking that the bear that was Coda
was the one that killed his brother, and then there's this whole misunderstanding, and it's kind of like learning a lesson sort of principle. I did like that angle, and I found it interesting that the brothers got to unite and kind of learn, or not learn, but they were able to unite in that one moment with the Aurora Borealis over there. It was pretty cool, and he chose to be a bear again, which I thought was a great choice. Other than that, like, ah, huh, yeah, there's nothing to it. The one song I actually remember from this movie is the "Tell Everybody I'm on my way." But other than that, I don't remember any other songs. There was a song that was played when Coda was telling the little bear cub that he was responsible for killing his mother. I don't remember what. I do remember, and I do agree with a lot of critics that that song ruins that moment. Why is Phil Collins singing at this moment? This is a very important scene where this is not only a very important scene, but it's a very dark scene that needs to kind of have a gravitas to it. And having Phil Collins sing to my face about the scene, even though I don't even think the song is about the scene, it didn't fit with the moment, is what I'm saying. All right, and it took you right out of it. So yeah, Brother Bear, not an awful film, but just nothing remarkable. And it's number 43. Number 42. What am I going to put at number 42? Let me see. Hold on. I gotta put this into the finish category. So what should I put for number 42? Number 42. What should I put for number 42? I guess so. I'll put this one. Number 42, I'm putting The First Rescuers. The First Rescuers. This was one of the few saving graces that Disney had during the 70s. I already mentioned it with Robin Hood about the lack of direction that they had in the company at that point in their history. But this was like the one glimmer of hope that maybe Disney still has something to offer to animation, to filmmaking. This was the film that did it. It was also one of the first films where they actually hired well-known actors, talented actors, because Bob Newhart and I forgot what the name of the woman was, Ava something, I think, something Ava Gabon or something like that. But they were actually very well known. They were very well known TV actors. And so they were very popular in the 70s. They got them to, they wanted to use their name brand recognition to promote the film. It worked it did kind of work, but the film as a whole, it was just a bit, man, this is why we should never do live shows. But it was a fun story. It's a fun story. It kind of has a bit of an Annie vibe to it because it's about a little girl that's, I don't know if she was an orphan, but I do remember that the mice were trying to save her from this evil woman and guy, kind of like in Annie, where you have the evil woman that held Annie in her orphanage. Oh man, what was her name? The character from Annie, the evil, the one that had the headmistress, I'll call her. But yeah, so she was kind of like that. Man, it's a fine film. I don't think it's terrible, but if I were to pick from a list of Disney films, what would be in like my top 40, I wouldn't say The Rescuers were in my top 40. And that's why it's number 42. All right, moving on. Let's put that in the bin. Let's go to number 41. What should number 41 be, guys? Let's look at the list, shall we? What should I put at number 4? Oh, yep. That's definitely going in number 41. Number 41, Treasure Planet. it pains me to kind of put this on, or it pains me to put it at number 41 because I think animation wise it looks fantastic. I like their take on the Treasure Island story. Instead of doing a Treasure Island story, they basically modernized it, or they tried to take a new direction with it. And I'm okay with that. And I think that there are some characters worth mentioning, but the one thing is that the main character sucks. He's boring. Like his friendship with that one guy with the golden eye or something like that. I don't even remember his name, but he was probably the most interesting character out of all of them. The cat general, the cat commander, the cat captain. She was fantastic. The robot sidekick that the little guy that the main character had, he was good too. Well, and I believe he was voiced by Martin Short. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to the overall execution. There are parts of the story that I felt like could have been executed better, parts of the film that I felt like could have been executed better. The main character, to me, is just a dullard and wasn't all that interesting. He kind of has a carefree, don't give a damn attitude. He's like Louis from DuckTales if he didn't have that moment of realization where he's like, oh man, well, I gotta be kind of a better person, or maybe I can do a bit more than what I'm doing. You know, that's what he reminds me of a lot. And just, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say about him. Okay, let's go to number 40. Man, it's already, wow. Am I even going to get through all of this before 12? I don't think I'm going to get through this by 12. I'm sorry, guys. You know what? At 35, I'll take a break and I'll read your comments. So let's just put this in the finish bin. All right, so what should be number 40? Number 40, what should I put at number 40, ladies and gentlemen? Let me look at my list. Number 40. What should we put at number 40? Oh, okay. This should go at number 40. I agree with this. Number 40, the Aristocats. This is one of the last ideas that Disney greenlit before he died. But just because he greenlit the idea doesn't mean that it was a good idea. It's about a bunch of snooty cats that lived an opulent lifestyle. The butler kidnaps them with his dogs, and they have this little slaps. That's probably the second best scene in the film, where they're escaping from the house, and there's like this slapstick sequence with him and his dog. Like the wheels fall apart, and I remember he's like walking as he's being held by his feet by the two dogs. But yeah, that was fun. I remember the musical number, like, everybody wants to be a cat, yeah, everybody. And they're like going down each floor because they're so heavy, I guess, as cats, and they're playing through the street. That, to me, was the best scene in the entire film. But other than that, like, the kittens are forgettable, the mom is forgettable. Thomas O'Malley is probably the best character in the film, outside of the butler and his dogs. And yeah, it's just kind of an unremarkable, it's one of those films, again, that no one really cared for, no one really cares about. Not to mention they had that one bit of racism with the one cat that's a Siamese cat holding chopsticks and playing it. We didn't need that. Didn't need that in there. All right. But yeah, that's number 40. I'm going to put that at number 40. Now we're going to get into the 30s. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting. We're whittling down the list, and it's going to get much harder from here on out. Number 39. Number 39, and this might surprise a few of you, I'm putting Frozen 2. Look, there's nothing anybody can tell me about Frozen 2 that won't change my mind about it being a very middle-of-the-road, mediocre film. All right? It's not bad, but it's also not that great. Elsa is the best character in the film. No shock there. And she had the two best musical numbers, Into the Unknown and Show Yourself, Step into the Something, Grow Yourself. You are the one you've been waiting for all of my life. But let's talk about the story. What was the story? Now I've heard from some people, and I did a little reading myself about the creation of Frozen 2, and it's widely known that Frozen 2 was heavily rushed, which makes me go, wait, how? You had 6 years to think of a sequel. How were you being rushed to make it? Was it because they waited to get it greenlit? Were they running out of ideas? Did the ideas that they have not test well with audiences? I heard that a lot of it was scrapped sometime in like 2017, 2018. They really were pushing the deadline with Frozen 2. And I guess that's why the story really suffers here. It's just not really all that remarkable. And the whole reveal that the person that Elsa was looking for was the voice of her mother from the past. See, that's how you knew the story was like being rushed. Because I think they could have come up with a better reveal than, oh, it was her mother the whole time. That just, to me, it felt like a cop-out. You built up this voice that's calling out to Elsa, and we find out the voice is her mother? Really? It would have been cool if it was like the voice of a villager. Like, there's a girl in the movie that kind of has like this flirtatious relationship with Elsa, and I was getting excited, and I mentioned this in my review too, but I was getting excited that maybe this is Disney no longer pussyfooting around and might actually throw in an LGBT character. An honest to God LGBT character. And maybe Elsa can form a relationship with this girl. And it looked as though that's where they were building up, and then all of a sudden they just drop it, and she like gets all cozy with this other guy who also had kind of like a little gay moment with Kristoff. And I was like, oh, two characters like that. That's interesting. But then they both end up together. What wasted opportunity? The twist about like, oh, with Arendelle, they attacked the natives as kind of like an allegory to colonialism and how Europeans would go around and take over native lands. Yeah, I got it, Disney. Doesn't make it great. Anna was useless in the film. Like, she had that one scene where she breaks the bridge or something like that, which, okay, but anybody could have done that. She becomes queen at the end because Elsa decides to journey into the unknown. She decides to head up north, I guess. But, like, I don't know how I feel about Anna being queen. I don't think she's ready. She's not like her sister, Olaf also had nothing to do. Kristoff had the strangest song in the entire film, which was the most 90s song the 90s never made. I'm lost in the woods and I'm looking for Anna. And his reindeer are being the background vocals. Okay, in hindsight, that song's pretty funny. It's ironically funny because I don't know if they were trying to be serious with it or they were trying to be cheeky, but it was definitely funny. So yeah, Frozen 2 I definitely would put at number 39. Now, number 38. What should I put for number 38? Let's see, number 38. What do I have so far? Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with this one. So number 38, I'm putting 101 Dalmatians. What? 101 Dalmatians? So low on the list? How could you do that, Tony? Outside of an iconic villain and also the historical significance of 101 Dalmatian, I don't really know much about this film, nor do I really care much about the film. Now, I mentioned that there's a historical significance to 101 Dalmatians. The historical significance is that Disney recently purchased a copy machine. In order to test out their copying capabilities, that's why they made this film. I'm not joking. Look up the history of this film. One of the reasons they made this film is because they had a copy machine and they were trying to figure out, okay, how do we need to test this copy machine out and see whether or not it's going to be useful for future films. Can we actually make this work? And so they made one Dalmatian and then they copied it until they had 100 copies. And that's where 101 Dalmatians came from. All right. I will say Cruella de Vil is a very interesting villain. You know, she has one of the best Disney villain songs, Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. But with the 101 Dalmatians, that means that a lot of those puppies, they just didn't stand out to me. In fact, I can't even think of one that did stand out. The mom and dad were just, both the human mom and dad and the girl mom and dad were just like, eh. Not to mention, one thing I will say that was terrible about this film is that when this film came out, right, it caused a huge demand from kids to get Dalmatians as pets. But what they didn't realize is that Dalmatians are not really good pets to have, all right? And after learning this, a lot of people that either returned the Dalmatian or they had to put it into a shelter. Some were euthanized because there wasn't any space for them. So this film actually caused a lot of damage in its time, not anymore, but in its time, because there was a lack of information about how Dalmatians are as dogs. They look cute in the film, but in real life, that's not really how they are. All right, and that's kind of tragic. There's a bit of a tragedy to 101 Dalmatians. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun film. I just wouldn't say it's anything truly remarkable. You know, that's number 38. Let's go to number 37. What shall I put as number 37? Let me look at my list again. No, not yet. Not that one. Not that one just yet. Number 37. Let me see. Man, this is where it starts to get really hard, guys. Yeah, let's put that there. Number 37, Dumbo. Dumbo. Tony, you didn't. Dumbo? Why? I love Dumbo. I like Dumbo too. You know, it's a fun film. It's a fine film. I would say, culturally speaking, it is very relevant. Like when you think Disney, you do think of Dumbo, I would say. I won't say that's the first thing you think of, but you would think of Dumbo. I guess why I put it here is that while I do like Dumbo, in a way, it's basically just Disney copying itself. It's basically Pinocchio, but it's with an elephant with big ears. I mean, think of it. You got an outrageous magical creature with some type of ability. Pinocchio, he came to life thanks to a magic fairy godmother. Then you have his voice of reason, his Jiminy Cricket, the mouse, right? I also think that the film hasn't aged very well. I didn't know this before watching the remake, but there's a song at the beginning of Dumbo that is, it's not good. So it hasn't aged well. I know a lot of people do not like the Crows, and I will admit, naming one of the Crows Jim, come on, Disney. That's not funny. I don't care who you are, that's not funny, dude. You named a crow Jim as a reference to the Jim Crow laws that oppressed a lot of African Americans at this time? Come on, Disney. That's messed up, dog. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. All right? Um, Elephants on Parade, of course, is an iconic scene. You cannot forget that scene. It's a great scene. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of Disney's best. I would say it's one of Disney. It's an iconic Disney film, but I personally wouldn't consider it its best film. All right, moving on. Let's go to number 36. Number 36. And I think I will put it here now. I think I will put it here now. Number 36, and I know a lot of you have been waiting to see where I was going to put it. And I'm going to put it, where is it? Where is it? Oh, I'm going to put it at number 36. I know this is shocking, but number 36, Sleeping Beauty. It is surprisingly high on the list. I will admit it. And many of you may argue that there's no way Sleeping Beauty is better than 101. It's not better than Dumbo or Frozen 2 or Aristocats. Here's the thing. I am willing to acknowledge one thing that Collider's list mentioned, and that's the fact that the animation of Sleeping Beauty was magnificent. And it was a huge risk. The history behind the making of this film is incredible, and I would recommend you guys read up on it. They tried a new form of cinematography for this film that gave it a very grand, wide look. And if you ever get a chance to see the film in a widescreen, it looks magnificent. All right, it looks fantastic. Yes, Aurora, she sucks. I hate Aurora. I'm not gonna lie. The prince is awful. Most of the film is not that good. But the animation is incredible. It is so great. Maleficent, she really carries the movie along with the animation. It's an iconic story. You know, it was a big risk for Disney, and it was actually the last time that Disney made a princess film. We didn't see another one until 1989 with The Little Mermaid. All right? This film was actually a box office bomb when it first released, which in a weird way, it delights me to know that it failed epically, but at the same time, it breaks my heart because it, just like Fantasia before it, the fact that this film bombed so hard, it meant that Disney wasn't willing to take any more risk. And I think it was because of Sleeping Beauty bombing so hard that you got some of the more typical safe choices that Disney would later come out with. You know, they ended up not taking any more risk after this, which is really sad. You could almost blame Sleeping Beauty for that, but I don't really blame the film. The film took the risk, and it just didn't pay off for it. All right. That being said, yeah, it's not to me. I still don't like the characters, at least outside of Maleficent. The stories, and it's not really all that memorable. But I still have to give it props for its place in Disney history. It is a significant film, whether you want to believe it or not. It is a significant film. It took chances. It just didn't pay off. All right. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are like, "What the hell, Sleeping Beauty in the 30s, Tony? It's a terrible placement." I'm sorry, but I feel like it deserves it. Now, number 35, I'm going to give this one to. Who am I going to give this one to? Let's go with this one. Let's go with Lady and the Tramp at number 35. All right. To me, this is still one of the best love stories Disney's ever told. And I really find the film charming, to say the least. The sad thing is that outside of Lady and the Tramp himself, all the other characters are not as remarkable. I know there was this old dog character that was like friends with Lady, I think. There's the Siamese cats. We've talked about them before, and let's not talk about them anymore. There's the iconic spaghetti scene. You know, it's like the go-to when it comes to like romantic type settings. I like how the poster says, and now his happiest motion picture. And I think back to myself, wait, was where every other film was dark and miserable. I don't remember all of Disney's films being dark and miserable. How is this the happiest motion picture Disney ever made? I guess it got butts and seats, I guess, right? But yeah, I would say this is a middle of the road type choice too. A lot of the films in the 30s are kind of middle of the road. I would say Lady and the Tramp is one of them. But I really love the love story. It's really sweet. It's charming. It's memorable to say the least. And yeah. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and take a break. Let me go ahead and address the comment section. See how you guys are holding up. How's everybody doing? Let's see. Aurora slept the whole movie. Yes, I agree. Like the fairies and Maleficent. Love this movie. Don't care what anyone says. Wait. Oh, so hard to keep track of all these comments. That's why Maleficent more traction later. Somehow the villain and side characters were more interesting than the two main leads. I think the animation is pretty good, but the story isn't that good. I agree. The story isn't that good. Fun fact, Don Bluth was an assistant animator for the scene with the Monarch's drinking song. Is that in Sleeping Beauty? Huh, I don't. That's pretty interesting. Aurora is so lazy. She literally slept through her role. Don't like her either. Maleficent, and maybe the three fairies are probably. Oh, so hard to keep track. BCG, I love you. So happy in my pants. Okay, did not have to read that. I'm glad you didn't put Oliver and Company in that part of the list. I mean, I just think that it's better. I think it's a better film. Actually, you know what? Let me do my cool transition. Whoosh! Now it's just me. Pay attention to me, guys. Pay attention to me. So, where's the anime reviews, mate? Well, I'm thinking about getting back into the anime reviews, just not right now. I'm trying to finish up Disney Week first. Once I finish up Disney Week and we get into December and I get more free time, I may get a chance to get to that. Yeah, if you guys have anything you want to say to me right now while we're taking this break. Let's see. I'm doing pretty good. Okay, good. That's good to hear. Bella Notte is an amazing song. Is that from Sleeping Beauty as well? Okay, Lady and the Tramp, I'd have to disagree. It's at number 11 for me. I mean, hey, to each their own, my friend. To each their own. I am so charmed by this classic tale of love, Lady and the Tramp. Is BCG in Guam or back in the States? No, I'm still on Guam. But Tony, Attack on Titan. I know that Attack on Titan is on its way back. I hope to watch its premiere. I don't know when it's coming. I'll speak to my friends about it. Hi, Tony. Off topic to this, but have you seen any new episodes of The Loud House? To tell you the truth, Ryan, I haven't watched The Loud House since 2017. And it's not because of what happened with the creator and all. I just haven't really gave it much thought after my review for it. It doesn't mean I don't like the show anymore. I definitely would love to watch it. Do you think Song of the South is the worst movie ever? I think it's screwed up. What if someone made a happy G-rated Nazi Holocaust movie? The worst movie ever? Maybe not the worst, but maybe the most insensitive movie of all time. But I mean, the Song of the South did exactly what Gone with the Wind did. And despite its almost romanticized version of what the Civil War was, I really like Gone with the Wind, story-wise. Nothing to do with the slavery angle or the fact that they make slavery look like it was a fun or it was like easy to do. Like, historically speaking, that movie's so messed up. But I can't deny that, man, the cinematography's great. The music's fantastic. I like the story of Scarlet. Oh, I forgot what her full name is, but I like the story of Scarlet. I loved her relationship with the Duke.
You know, that line, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Wonderful. Would you consider doing the same style of video for Pixar movies, maybe for next year's Disney Week? If everyone is, well, first off, let me ask you guys, do you like this style? Do you like how I'm doing this video? Or would you prefer one of the videos that I've released previously to do it in this? Would you, okay, let me word this a little better. Would you prefer me doing a ranked video in this style, or would you prefer me to do it in the more traditional style of videos? What's your favorite Disney song? Come back to me on that one. There's so many Disney songs, I can't tell which ones I love the most. Where would you put a Goofy movie on the list? I think a Goofy movie would land somewhere in the high 30s, low 20s for me on the list. So Ryan says, yes, I do. Ray says, yes, I do. Okay. I'm just going to wait for everybody else to comment as well. I prefer a mix of both. Okay. I prefer a mix of both. Live is pretty good, mate. Okay. Duly noted. It probably won't be in this room. It probably will be in my other house. Have you seen The Wiz? I have seen The Wiz. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's my favorite rendition of The Wizard of Oz, but yeah, I like it. All right, so I got a bunch of people saying yes and a bunch saying a mix of both. What are your thoughts on Disney Plus? Joseph, Disney Plus isn't even on Guam yet. It's been out for a year and they haven't brought it to Guam yet. What the can't cuss. It's Disney Week still. But yeah, Disney Plus is not available on Guam. We're a freaking U.S. territory. How is Disney Plus not available on Guam? A rant for another day. Let's see. Depends. The regular style of top 10s, the styles much longer ones. You can do more list and rankings. Would you consider ranking Disney television animated series, sitcoms and stuff? It's a lot. It's a lot, but maybe, you know, if I'm interested enough and then there's more interest in those, then yeah, sure, I can definitely get to that. I love Michael Jackson as a scarecrow. I loved him too, back when he was black. Any updates on the live action Lilo and Stitch remake? I'm beginning to think it was just a rumor. Nope, it's not a rumor. It's still happening. They just signed Chris Sanders to reprise his role as Stitch. What did you think of Hamilton? You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was originally planning to do a video talking about Hamilton and how much I love it. And I'm addicted to it. I almost use the song non-stop as my mantra because there's just so much things I want to do, just like how Hamilton is just non-stop with everything that he does. All right, I think, no, we'll start at, you know what? We'll start at exactly 12 a.m. We'll start at exactly 12 a.m. and finish the rest of the list. All right? So hang in there, fellas. Hang on there, ladies. We'll get to it soon. So you got 3 minutes until we begin the list again. Sorry if this is off topic, but would you ever do it's actually the 12 days of anime. And I would love to, but I don't have enough, I haven't seen enough anime to make a 12 days of anime series of videos, unfortunately. Fun fact, Disney used to own Power Rangers back in the early 2000s, but in 2009, Disney did not want anything to do with Power Rangers anymore and ended it off to RPM. Okay, interesting. Man, dude, I want to play Smash. Hey, guys, it's Takashi Bukat. He's in the chat. Yo, Taka. Everybody was asking where you were for the Into the Void. to be fair to Taka, I didn't reach out to him to do the video because I didn't want to I didn't want him to have to get out of his comfort zone to record. It's kind of hard for us to all get together and just record in a place. But don't worry, Takashi will return as director of Into the Void in future episodes if he still wants to do it. All right. Do they have Disney Junior? What do they have on Disney Junior? I forgot. I don't know. Have you seen SpongeBob, the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run? So about that movie, I don't want to watch it. I feel like it's a spit on Steven Hillenburg's legacy, and I love Steven Hillenburg. You know, he created, in my opinion, one of the greatest TV shows of all time, and he did not want what is about to happen to SpongeBob to happen. And the fact that Nickelodeon waited until he was dead to push it forward is a disgusting practice, and they're pieces of craps for doing it. And so because of that, I'm not going to support that movie. No worries, understood, brother. Don't worry, Taka. You're coming back for the. It's not a sequel. Well, it's kind of a sequel. You're coming back for the sequel. Any Christmas movie reviews planned? You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, Anthony. I'm gonna review Klaus. I'm going to review Klaus for Christmas. You heard it here first in this video, in this live chat. In fact, Rio, if you're watching, we're gonna be watching Klaus when I get home. You ready? I hope you're ready for that. Ready to watch some Klaus? Let's see. There's a rumor that there's going to be an animated Darkwing Duck reboot for Disney Plus, and Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, James Weaver, and Alex McTeague from. Really? That's both interesting and weird for me, because they're more known for their run. It's funny that they're thinking about doing the reboot because many people may have forgotten, but remember when they rebooted the Green Hornet? I really liked the Green Hornet, and I think they could probably bring that style of storytelling that they did in the Green Hornet to Darkwing Duck, and I think that the humor of that film that they did, it could work for a Darkwing Duck film. Klaus, aka the movie that should have won the Oscar. I agree. After watching it, I couldn't agree more. I love the Toy Story franchise, but Toy Story 4 did not deserve the Oscar last year. It is disgusting bias towards Pixar that it won. Remember Playhouse Disney as a kid? I do remember Playhouse Disney as a kid. I remember PB&J Otter, Bear in the Big Blue House. What was that one about? I guess his name was Stanley, and he had like this book where he learned about animals, which taught me a lot about animals as well, by the way. Oh my God, yes, Tony. Did you see the Animaniac reboot yet? Not really. You know, it's funny. I was gonna make a video talking about why I wasn't interested in watching the Animaniac reboot, because I was upset that the other characters were not brought back, like Slappy and what's his name? Martin and Mindy, the dog and cat duo. Aunt Slappy, the squirrel. Aunt Slappy was my favorite character in Animaniacs. I also like the pigeons. They didn't come back. They only brought back Pinky and the Brain, which I get. Those are like the Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain were their two biggest segments on the show. But I really liked Aunt Slappy and her little kid. I liked the dog and the cat, the pigeons. I thought if you're gonna do a reboot of Animaniacs, you need to bring the whole family. You need to bring the whole family back. You can't just bring parts of the family back, you know? Hello, nurse. That never gets out of. Yeah, Out of the Box was a really good one too. Okay, so it's reaching that point, guys. So let's go ahead and get readjusted now, and let us get started and return back to our regularly scheduled
Programming. So, just to recap, let's recap real quick. All the way back up. So, number 58 was Home on the Range. Number 57, Black Cauldron. Number 56, Chicken Little. Number 55, Bolt. Number 54, Robin Hood. Number 53, The Sword and the Stone. Number 52, Dinosaur. Number 51, Meet the Robinsons. Number 50, Winnie the Pooh 2011. Number 49 to 44 were all of the compilation movies. Number 53 or 43, Brother Bear. Number 42, The Rescuers. Number 41, Treasure Planet. Number 40, The Aristocats. Number 39, Frozen 2. Number 38, 101 Dalmatians. Number 37, Dumbo. Number 36, Sleeping Beauty. And number 35, Lady and the Tramp. All right, now let's get into number 34. What should I put for number 34, ladies and gentlemen? Lion King. No, I'm just kidding. Number 34. This is where we start getting into dangerous territory because we got to make hard choices here. Yeah, I think so. Number 34, Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland. Whenever I think of Alice in Wonderland, I always think back to the 1950s Alice in Wonderland, which was actually one of my favorite movies growing up. It introduced me to the world of Alice in Wonderland. And this was, I think, Disney at its most creative, at least animation-wise. I really liked what they did with this film. And I think most people, when they think of Alice in Wonderland, they do think of the original Disney animated film, more so than the rebooted sequel, because it's not even a reboot of the original story. It's a sequel. It takes place years afterwards. So I really like this film. I found it charming, and I really don't have much more to say about it. It's just a really solid film. So with that said, let's go ahead and move over to number 33. Number 33. Boom. But what should I put for number 33, ladies and gentlemen? What should I put? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Slowly trimming away the fat here. Yeah. Ooh, this is getting hot here. Ooh, these choices are getting really hard to choose. I think, yeah, we'll put this one here. This is another recent Disney release, but number 33 is Ralph Breaks the Internet. It is definitely not better than Wreck-It Ralph. You must be effing kidding me, Collider. But yeah, Ralph Breaks the Internet, while it isn't as good as Wreck-It Ralph, I do find it just as entertaining. I think the best part about Ralph Breaks the Internet is actually the ending. The fact that Vanellope and Ralph go their separate ways. It actually brought me to tears to see them kind of go off and, do their own thing. It was really sad to see, and it was a powerful moment, and it kind of showed a bit of growth and new direct. It was a big risk to do too, because most Disney films, they would have just ended up just going back to the arcade, back to their silly ways. I'm glad that they actually made them separate. Because in real life, guys, sometimes you're going to be separated from some of your friends, and you may not speak to them again, or you may not hang out as much as you used to. You try to keep in touch, but we all have our own lives. We have to move forward. Some want to stay in the place that they were originally. Others need to spread their wings. Vanellope was that person that just needed to spread her wings and find a new adventure for herself. Ralph, He's very comfortable with his life and where he is. I think where the problems come for me when it comes to this film is they really dropped the ball with that B story dealing with Fix It Felix and that one woman voiced by what's her name? What's her name? I forgot her name already. Jesus, I forgot her name. But yeah, her, the girl with the crew cut. The Disney princess scene is probably the most iconic scene I've seen in a Disney movie in a very long time. Like that scene will live, not in infamy, but it'll be remembered fondly over the years. I promise you. It'll be like how we remember Just Can't Wait to Be King, or how we will remember Be Our Guest, or how we will remember Under the Sea. May not have the musical number, but just the camaraderie, the chemistry between the princesses, Vanellope hanging out with the princesses, and them kind of like poking fun at each other or poking fun of some of their traits. I love that scene where almost every line that Ariel said was wonderful, which is like, "What do you call this? Oh, a shirt. I had a dream where I wore a shirt." I love it. It's so tongue in cheek and it's cute and it's hilarious. Um, I hated that. What's her face? Maribel was there. She really stuck out like a sore thumb throughout the whole thing. They made Snow White an interesting character all of a sudden. Aurora is basically Aurora in the film. Yeah, 33. I think is a good placement for Ralph Breaks the Internet. Oops. Let's just go and click off. Okay, let's go to number 32. Number 32. What am I going to put at number 32? Okay, so this is where we're going to start pulling hairs here, guys. We're going to start pulling hairs here. Number 32, this might surprise a few of you, I'm putting Tarzan. Yes, I know a lot of people love this film. I personally enjoy this film. I think it gets way too much crap thrown its way. The visuals, the animation is fantastic, especially when Tarzan is swinging through the vines or surfing the branches. Oh, beautiful animation. His relationship with Jane, though, I felt like was kind of weak and unconvincing, to say the least. I wouldn't see, like, seeing their relationship in the film, I'm not convinced that Tarzan would just leave the jungle for Jane. They didn't build that type of chemistry, in my opinion. It just seemed kind of like a stretch. Clayton is probably one of the more interesting Disney villains of the modern era. He's kind of on the nose, though, as a Disney villain. Of course, he's going to be the antagonist. He's the brash huntsman that doesn't give a damn about the forest and is just in it for the money and the destruction. Of course, he's the main villain. The side characters are probably more. They're very entertaining. I like the elephant. I love the Rosie O'Donnell chimpanzee or gorilla. And the scene where they're all doing like the destruction of the camp, shibadoo babada doobadoo babada da doo ba she doo. Really fun scene. It's still fun to this day to watch. And it's one of those great esoteric moments that just kind of grew into something wonderful. Like they didn't even know what they were doing. They're like, hey, what if they just start rummaging through this camp and they're having a blast doing it? That's what they did, and it was really fun to watch. So yeah, Tarzan, number 32. Do bop she do ba do do do. Ooh bop she do. Okay, so number 31, I already kind of had an idea which one I wanted for number 31, and that is, of course, why should I worry? Why should I care? Am I had enough? I'm a street side warfare. Yes, Oliver and Company. It finally showed up on the list. It didn't deserve to be in the low 50s. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the video itself, but I thought it belonged somewhere in the 30s. And fittingly enough, number 31. I think this movie, it gets quickly forgotten. I would say this is one of Disney's underrated gems. And this was the film, guys, that helped to fund The Little Mermaid. If this film wasn't as successful as it was, Disney might have not had enough money to produce their next feature. Oliver and Company, in a way, helped to save the Disney company. Now, Little Mermaid would push it over the edge, but Oliver and Company was a good start, and they kind of started relying on big name celebrities to be in their movies at this point. I mean, you have Billy Joel in the movie, obviously. You have Bette Midler is in the movie as well as the pampered poodle, which, by the way, her morning routine scene is probably one of my favorite moments in the film, with the whole birds around her face and she's like smiling like that. And then she finds the cat there, like, what the hell is this cat doing here? Mrs., get this heathen out of here. And the Why Should I Worry song is one of the best songs in a Disney film. I love the fact that it takes place in New York City, not the most wonderful looking places in the world, but the fact that they actually were willing to take this as a setting for a Disney film. It's pretty cool. As for the other dogs, I like the side characters. I don't remember much about them. I do remember the one scene where the small dog pretends to like get hit by a car, and they're like, "Oh, you poor guy, what's going on?" And that was their way of trying to like sneak into the limousine kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. I don't remember if Cheech Marin was in this film. Was he in this film? He played the Chihuahua, right? I think he did. Remind me again if not. But yeah, Oliver and Company, solid film. One of Disney's best, in my opinion. All right, number 30. Let's go. We're in the top 30, guys. We're in the top 30. So what is in the top 30? Well, I'm putting at number 30 itself. Let's put this. I'm putting The Rescuers Down Under at number 30. This is the most easily forgotten films of the Disney Renaissance, and it's a damn shame, but it's also understandable. It was going up against The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. Of course it wasn't going to stand out. There was no way it was going to beat those films. But man, you talk about a compelling, like this is a sequel. This is one of the few instances where the sequel really beats the original. No one really remembers the original Rescuers. I know that I was introduced to the Rescuers through this film. I didn't even know that there was a Rescuers. I just knew them as the Rescuers Down Under. And man, this film is a blast to watch. It still holds up today, has a fantastic villain. That scene with the golden eagle and they're going through the river and the kid's like flying on its back or something like that. Oh, beautiful animation. John Candy is a character in the film. He plays the seagull. He gets replaced, like they replace the seagull with another seagull. He's fantastic. I forgot what type of animal that is. It's a type of animal that is indigenous to Australia. But the one that you see in the picture holding the boomerang, great. Love him. I love the little love triangle that's formed between him and the mouse guy. It's really cute. It's a fantastic film. If you have not seen The Rescuers Down Under, do yourself a favor. Watch it. Number 29. Number 29. What am I going to put at number 29? Let's look at the list again. Do bop she do. Okay, number 29. Let's see. See, this is where I start to pull hairs here. No, not yet. I wouldn't put that there yet. Yeah, I guess. Number 29, I'll put Big Hero 6. Funny enough, I honestly, I don't know whether or not I would have put this lower on the list, but I think number 29 is a good placement for Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6, while not the greatest Disney film of all time, I definitely would say is one of the more fun Disney films. Baymax is wonderful. Hold on. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here about this placement. Because do I really want to place it at number 29? I'm looking at the other choices right now. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say no. I'm going to actually put Big Hero 6 at the number 32 spot. So let's change this to number 32. And then we'll change the list as we go down. So this one now goes to number 31. And now Oliver and Company is number 30. And Rescuers Down Under is actually in the top, or is in the top, well, it was already in the top 30, but now it's number 29. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, back to Big Hero 6. It's a fun film. It's very diverse film. I'll give it that. The problem is that we don't really get to spend a lot of time with the other side characters, learn a little bit about them. The twist villain was not good, but the action is fantastic. The visuals are great. The animation is superb. Tadashi and no, not Tadashi. Shiro? Shiro and his relationship with Baymax was beautiful. Very well done. And had the sacrifice actually meant something, it would have been a very powerful moment. All right. With that said, let's go to 28. See, I told you I was going to change the list as we go along. Made that change. So, we're done with Big Hero 6. What's going to be number 28, though? What shall I put at number 28? What am I going to put at number 28? I'm pulling hairs, guys. I'm pulling hairs. I don't know. I really don't know what to pick anymore. It's so hard. Yeah, let's go with that first. So number 28, we're going to have Atlantis, The Lost Empire. The most underrated film of all time, in my opinion. More so than Rescuers Down Under, because people to this day do praise Rescuers Down Under. I barely hear any praise for Atlantis, The Lost Empire. And it breaks my heart because that was one of the best Disney films I saw when I was growing up. I love the diversity of the cast, and I actually, like, each of the characters had their own standout features outside of just them kind of being in the background. The Dynamite guy was hilarious. Mole was hilarious. I think the only character I didn't really care much for, once again, the main character. There was something about the early 2000s where the leads for these Disney films are so unremarkable. It started with Tarzan, and then it ended with, no, it still continued on to like Bolt. I think after Bolt, that's when, we got Princess and the Frog, and of course Tiana's fantastic. And then the characters just got better from there. I don't count Lilo. Lilo is an aberration in that mix, and she kind of shares main character duties with Stitch in that sense. Now back to Atlantis, The Lost Empire. It's a great film. One of the best and forgotten Disney princesses. How can you forget about Kida? Kida is amazing. Shout out to Cree Summer. Wherever you are, Cree Summer, I salute you for your performance as Kida. It's a great performance. All right. Yeah, it's pretty much the animation too is fantastic. Great use or great mix of 3D and 2D animation, and also the art style, the character designs, quite unique for a Disney film. Like their fingers are kind of like huge in a sense. Their facial features are kind of boxed and squared. I like that design. It definitely stood out from the pack. And if you haven't seen Atlantis Lost Empire, please do yourself a favor, watch it. All right? Let's go to number 27. 27. Do bop, she do. Shooby doo, baba da, dooby doo, baba da ba doo, ba ba da 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 da. What should be number 27? Hmm. Really pulling hairs here. What should I do? Which one should I pick? I don't know what to pick. Oh, this is where it gets so hard, guys. Um, yeah, why not? Number 27, I'm going to put The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Um, so this is actually a compilation film as well. I did not know this because I guess these were based on a series of shorts that they made about the Winnie the Pooh character. But since I didn't grow up in the 60s and 70s, or the 70s is when this came out, I wouldn't have seen them, so they were new to me. So I love Winnie the Pooh. He's a charming little cuddly old soft and fluff. He's Winnie the Pooh. Woo! Winnie the Pooh. Willy nilly silly old bear. This movie as a whole is just iconic. It introduced us to Tigger. It introduced us to the wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. The tufts are made out of rubber. The pups are made of fling. The bouncy, 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 bouncy. Sorry, I love Tigger. Love Winnie the Pooh. I'll never forget that scene where they're like, they travel through like this dark wooded area. It's Tigger, Rabbit, and I think Pooh is with them. Rabbit gets like caught, and he starts hearing like the croaking of the frogs and the bugs and stuff like that. He like has a mental breakdown. Or the scene where Pooh is stuck in a hole and they have to pull him out. And when they pull him out, he like ends up being stuck inside of another hole, but this time it's full of honey. Hey, just leave me in here. I'm trying to think what other scenes in there. No, that was not from that movie, was it? There was a dream sequence. There was a dream scene with the Pooh, I think, and there was like the honey pots. Yeah, it's just a fun film. Wonderful film. Wonderful film. Number 26. Let's go. Let's go. Number 26. I kind of have an idea of which one I want to choose. Let me just make sure that that's the one I want to make the choice for. Yeah, that's the one I want to make the choice for. Number 26 is The Fox and the Hound. Suck it! Suck it, Collider. Number 57 my butt. It's number 26 on my list, and that's an appropriate placement for Fox and the Hound. This is just a charming story about friendship. And I kind of even mentioned in that Collider video that it also has kind of like an understanding of like race. If you see like the fox and the hound, they're both different races and they don't want each other to mingle. And they're kind of raised to vilify the other in a way. I thought it was just such a charming film that shows you that friendship has no bounds. Friendships can stretch beyond just a physical representation or some type of orientation. I learned a lot about what friendship could be from this film, believe it or not. You know, what scene I remembered when I was making the Collider video? That scene where the dog was talking, when the hound was talking to The fox is like, "You'll always be my friend, Charlie," or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh, he's so adorable." Here's a fun fact: did you know that Kurt Russell was in this film? I believe Kurt Russell played. Oh no! Now I gotta look this up. I know that Kurt Russell's in this film, though. I remember that very vividly. Let me see. Fox and the Hound. Let's see. Who did he voice? Yeah, Kurt Russell voiced Cooper. He voiced Cooper, which is the pup. He's the hound, basically. He voiced Cooper. And the fox's name was Todd, and he was voiced by Mickey Rooney. Okay, hey, that's pretty interesting. Kurt Russell and Mickey Rooney. Okay, didn't see that one coming. All right, so, but yeah, just a beautiful film, touching film. This is my way of just kind of sticking it to Collider to say this is the appropriate placement for Fox and the Hound. How dare you say it's boring? I dare you to say it again. Number 25. Enough sticking it to Collider. Let's move on from that. Get to number 25. What should I put at number 25? Let's see. Number 25. What should I put for number 25? Ooh, it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot with these choices. Yeah. 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 Number 25. Wait, no. Let me think. Let me rethink this real quick. Yeah. 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 Number 25, Moana. Make way, Moana, it's time you knew. The village of Motunui is all you need. It pains me to put it at number 25. I would have loved to put it in the top 20, but it's too soon to put it in the top 20. It just came out 4 years ago, but even in its short lifetime, it has made quite a splash. And I will admit, I have a bit of bias when it comes to this film. I'm an Islander. Of course, a film about Islanders is going to relate to me a lot, and I'm going to really connect with it. But just because they feature island characters doesn't mean that the film was just going to be instantaneously good. They would still need to make a good story, have fun and memorable characters. I love the fact that this film doesn't have a villain. There isn't a villain in this film. The villain basically is hubris. That's the villain of this film. And it basically comes from the fact that Dwayne The Rock Johnson's character Maui thought he could do it all and he didn't have to follow anybody's rules and we had to pay for his arrogance. You know? But I love that scene where she faces not Tafiti, but I forgot the name of the lava version of Tafiti, but she basically calls out to it, and then they part the sea, and you hear the "Oh my time, Tangi," and she's like, and she harmonizes with the song. Oh my god, that guys, top 10 greatest moments in Disney history. That scene, top 10. That shot where you see her walking on the sand surrounded by walls of water in slow motion with the music playing as it did. Oh my god. Great. And some of the most iconic musical numbers. You're Welcome is fantastic. How Far I Go is fantastic. We Know the Way is great. So many great songs. So many memorable songs and choices here. I would love to put it higher, but again, it's still too soon. And I do feel like there are some things that the film kind of dropped the ball on. Oh, Shiny's a great song too. Speaking of Shiny, though, that's one of the issues I had with the film is that I thought that Tamatoa would play a bigger role in the film. Maybe he would show up again, taking the heart of Tefiti, and they would have to fight him or something. They didn't do anything with him, and I'm like, except for that one glorious moment where we did meet him. He was beautiful. It was great to hear Jermaine Clement, New Zealanders, playing the role, but they could have done more with him. Yeah, number 25. Oops. Oh, my time, a tangy. All right, let's put that away. What am I putting at number 24, guys? What's number 24 going to be? I'm going to put, yeah, that's a perfect choice. I'm going to put The Emperor's New Groove. Arguably, the best comedy Disney's ever created. I mean, this movie is so freaking funny. And it's not just that Cusco is funny. It's not just that Pacha is funny. It's not just that Cusco and Pacha together are funny. Almost every character in this movie. Pacha's wife is funny. His kids are funny. I love that scene where they're like saying, yaha, nah, nah. It's basically like how kids do, they're annoying like that. They're funny. Yzma and Krunk are the greatest villain duo Disney has ever created. I don't care what anybody says. They are the greatest Disney duo Disney has ever created. And they're the funniest Disney duo Disney has ever created. Props to Cusco or props to Yzma and Krunk for making me laugh so hard. Another scene I really loved is the chase scene where they're like trying to hurry back to the castle to basically Cusco's throne, right? And while Krunk and Yzma are running, they see the line that Cusco and Pacha made, and they're like, "What the? Hey, made it easier for us. Here we go!" Right? And oh man, that whole film is just so delightful. And I actually was surprised at how much depth they gave Cusco. I thought he was just going to be this arrogant, annoying character for most of the film. He's not really going to learn from his adventure, but he actually does learn. He learns to accept the fact that life does not always have to be about him. Sometimes helping others in and of itself is the greatest reward. And, he realized that having a friend is very helpful. Having someone there that you can rely on to have your back when things go bad, as things did clearly go bad. Oh, I love the scene where Yzma turns into a cat and her voice, she's like, my voice, what happened to my voice? Or the scene when she holds up the bottle and she's like, I win. And then Krunk opens up a hatch. She's like, wow, I didn't know there was a window here. It's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's hilarious. It's a treat. All right, let's go to number 23. Now, actually, I'm going to put a choice here that I agreed with from the original list. So number 23 is going to be, just like in Collider's list, it's going to be, where is it? Number 23 is The Great Mouse Detective. It's basically Sherlock Holmes with mice. And it's a great adventure story. There's not much mystery to it, which is probably the one thing that holds it back. But all in all, fantastic adventure story. Great animation. It's one of the first times that they use 3D models or 3D animation in their films. The clock scene was made entirely of 3D outside of the Radigan and Basil and the little girl. And I think the rope too was also 2D hand-drawn. But man, it looked glorious. It still holds up today, that clock tower scene. Not only in its animation, but like how gruesome that scene was. Whew. Basil's just being thrashed left and right by Radigan, who finally embraced his inner rat. And, you thought he'd be dead, but he ends up coming back and like, oh, it's so beautiful. Hold on, I need to scratch my nose. Oh, sorry, my nose is like, it feels very weird. I might have to wash my face after number 20 or something. But yeah, The Great Mouse Detective is a great story, fun characters. Ratigan is a fantastic villain character, by the way, too. Has a great villain song. Ratigan, oh Ratigan, 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 to Ratigan, the world's greatest mouse. And he doesn't like to be called a rat. Like when the one drunk guy says rat, he feeds him to his cat, which is so grim. I just thought of it now. Wow, that is terrifying. And we don't see that character again, by the way. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead, yo. You know? Yeah. I love this film. I love it a lot. I really want to watch it again. You know, I might actually watch this again. All right, moving on to number 22. What am I going to put at number 22, guys? So many choices, not enough time. Let's see. Hopefully I can finish this by 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. your guys' time. So let's try to see if we can wrap this up. Number 22, I'm going to pick... yeah, let's go with that one. All right, so for number 22, guys, this might surprise a few of you, but I'm actually going with Pocahontas. I would agree that this is the weakest of the Disney Renaissance films. I may change my mind in the future because I actually, fun fact, I wanted to make a retrospective video on Pocahontas. I never got a chance to because I ran out of time, but maybe next year when I do BCG Disney Week, I can revisit a retrospective on Pocahontas and see whether or not it is worthy of a higher spot or it's perfectly placed. But the music of Pocahontas, the animation of Pocahontas, fantastic. A plus plus plus. Pocahontas as a character, while historically inaccurate, is a fantastic character with a lot of depth to her. The one thing I think that holds her down is just her relationship with John Smith. I wish it wasn't a romantic relationship. I wish it was more like how Maui, I wish it was more like Moana and Maui's relationship. Strictly platonic, and they were more or less just trying to help each other out in a sense, which would be more akin to what their relationship was like in real life in a way. But yeah, I really like not only Paint with All the Colors of the Wind, but I love the tree song. You know, the quay, quay, up to hope, you will understand. And there's so many forgotten gems music-wise. I mean, you guys don't talk about Mine, Mine, Mine. Oh, I love that song. The gold of Cortez, the gems of Pizarro, who seem like mere trinkets by this time tomorrow. The gold we find here will dwarf them by far. With all you got in you, boys, dig up Virginia, boys. Yeah, I remember that song. Savages is also a great song. Really good when it came to building up this climax, this clashing between two worlds. Yeah, Pocahontas is a charming film. It might be better than I'm giving it credit for here, but as of right now, I think it belongs in the number 22 spot. Let's go now to number 21. And number 21 is actually going to be another Disney Renaissance film. Which one, you're probably thinking to yourself? Well, let me show you. That would be Mulan. Yeah, I know a lot of you might be shocked to see it so low on the list. And I know because I know a lot of you are kind of mad because it's supposed to be this film that was a trans trailblazer. How could you do this to all the trans people out there, Tony? Don't you know what Moana, or don't you know what Mulan means to them? I give this movie a slight edge over Pocahontas because It's far more riveting. The female character, or Mulan as a character, is just stronger than Pocahontas. I love the fact that she doesn't really have a love interest till the very end, of course, when they force Shang onto her, which ah, I don't know about you guys, but I really did not want her and Shang to be romantic in any way. And this is coming from a guy that loves romance. I wanted them to be strictly platonic, and I wanted it to be like she earned his respect, which is something that you get in the Emperor's Palace scene, where they're climbing up the poles and he joins them in the climb, which is a sign showing like, yeah, you take the lead, Mulan. We trust in you. You're our leader here. So I didn't like the fact that he's like he's being like awkward and fumbling. He's like, I brought you your hat. I mean, I brought you your dad's hat. And like, and then she asked him to stay for dinner. Yeah. Mushu's great. The horse is fantastic too. The cricket, love the cricket. Some great songs as well, by the way. Not just the ones that you're thinking that I'm going to mention, like Reflections or I'll Make a Man Out of You. But I really like the opening song, the We'll Bring Honor to Us All. I really like that song. I also like A Girl Worth Fighting For. Wish that I had a girl worth fighting for. And who can really forget the iconic scene where Mulan's trying to bathe and hiding the fact that she's a girl? Her friends come and join her in the water, and she's just like feeling really. I'm guessing she's never seen a lot of naked men in her life before, right? So, oh man, the comedy in that scene is brilliant. I loved it a lot. Yeah, 21 is a perfect placement for this. I think the one issue that most of us can agree with, the villains. They were weak and generic baddies. Not much depth to them, you know? All right, now guys, we're in the top 20. Here we go. This is where it gets really, really hard, guys. This is where it gets really, really hard. All right, so what is going to start off the list at number 20? Well, let me look at my list. Let me see what should start off our list at number 20. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I definitely would put that at number 20. I love. No, wait. Oh, shoot. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Number 20 is Princess and the Frog. I would have loved to have put Princess and the Frog a little higher, but in terms of its impact, it wasn't as impactful as all the films I'm going to put later on in the list. But man, Princess and the Frog was, how do I put this? Not a breath of, no, it definitely was a breath of fresh air. And it was such a welcome return to 2D animation. Keep in mind, this was the first 2D animated film to be released in theaters ever. Disney set that trend of reviving a bit of 2D animation, a fully 2D animated film. I checked. There were no other 2D animated films that came out from the time of Home on the Range all the way to Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog was the return to form for 2D animation. And my goodness, did they pull it off in flying colors. Tiana is one of the greatest Disney princesses of all time. I love her to death. I loved her character arc. She has the best singing voice of any Disney princess. I've said that numerous times and I still stand by it. Almost There is one of the greatest Disney songs of all time. Also, the villain. The villain is so memorable. This is where we start to get to some of the more memorable villains in Disney history. Starting with, of course, Dr. Facilier. And Keith David, you knocked it out of the park. Friends on the Other Side is also a fantastic villain song, by the way. I also love the shout-outs, references, and callbacks to early jazz greats, to a lot of jazz motifs, which is fantastic. I'm a big fan of jazz. The song When We're Human It's an underrated song. It might not be the best song, but I liked it because of how jazzy it was. If I were a human being, I head straight for New Orleans, and I blow this horn so hard and loud like no one had ever seen. I could sing. I could sing nearly every song in Princess and the Frog by heart, even my belle Evangeline. You test me, but I promise you, I can sing all the songs if I wanted. Ray is actually a really great character too. And his death, you know, it's weird to feel for a Firefly, but when he died, my heart did break. But it was beautiful that he did end up with his beautiful Evangeline at the end. And then also, Down in New Orleans is a fantastic song. Hey, partner, don't be shy. Come on down there and give us a try. The Prince is also great too. Like this is one of the more he's one of the more refreshing princes of all time. Like him and Flynn Rider, I feel like they battle for who's the best prince in a Disney film. Because Kristoff, as much as I like Kristoff, he doesn't count, nor does Hans. Nothing from Cinderella, nothing from Snow White. It's really between what's his name? My name is what's his name? Oh, I keep remembering from Maldonia. I am Levine of Maldonia, something like that. Prince Naveen, that's his name. Prince Naveen from Maldonia. It's between him and Flynn Rider, who's the best of the best. But yes, Princess and the Frog, definitely a great Disney film. Love it to death. Let's move on, though. Let me stop gushing about Princess and the Frog and move on to another part of the list. All right, let's put that away here. Okay, what should number 19 be, you ask? Well, actually, it's the film that came after Princess and the Frog, Tangled. Tangled was was the Sleeping Beauty of its time. What am I saying? Sleeping Beauty. It was the Little Mermaid of its time. It was what kicked off what would later be known as the Disney revival. All right. After this, Disney started shooting out some really fantastic films, minus, of course, Winnie the Pooh, which is kind of like the Rescuers Down Under of the group. But like you had freaking Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, Big Hero 6, Zootopia. I mean, seriously, hit after hit after hit after hit. It was fantastic. And it also kind of revived the Disney princess genre. Because remember, they didn't really want to be doing any more Disney princess films. They stopped after, God, if we're going to be honest, they stopped after Pocahontas because Esmeralda was not a princess, nor was Mulan, nor was Jane, and Lilo and Stitch doesn't count. They don't consider Kita a Disney princess, so I guess she doesn't count. But yeah, this was the first Disney princess film that they did since Pocahontas. And clearly it shows that they haven't missed a step. And it was so refreshing to see a Disney princess back on screen. And Flynn Rider and Rapunzel have one of the most dynamic relationships of any Disney couple. I would argue they have the best relationship of any Disney couple, mind you. All right. And yeah, it's the horse. I didn't give enough props to that horse. That horse is fantastic, by the way. I forgot how funny that horse was. He is hilarious, dude. Pastel, the chameleon, is wonderful. Mother Gothel, another iconic Disney villain. Mother Knows Best is a really great song. The animation during the I see the light montage with all the lamps and stuff. Oof, love that scene. Yeah, Tangled number 19, definitely. And my nose is so itchy. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go wash my face and then we'll finish this off. Okay, I feel a little better now. Let's finish this. Number 18, here we go. What should I put for number 18? Ooh, that's going to be hard. Number 18? You know what? Yeah. Number 18, I'm putting Fantasia 2000. People want to write this film off because it has a lot of jokes and celebrity guest appearances. Okay, forget all that. Okay, let's just forget that there are celebrities and comedians making terrible jokes or there's terrible joke writing. That's not the point of Fantasia 2000. Fantasia 2000 was about it's about the experience of an orchestra, like it's an animated orchestra, basically. Music that's sung with orchestral scores. And in that case, it's breathtaking. The animation in this film is some of the best Disney has ever made, hands down. My favorite one is the one about nature, where you see the girl representation of nature just like flying through the land and bringing forth life and things like that. Oh my God! And the triumph after the forest fire, and she's like back to her full glory. Beautiful. Rhapsody in Blue. They did a Rhapsody in Blue in this movie, and I actually did like that art style too. I thought it was very fitting. The one about the whales, I think, is the one I found the weirdest out of all of them. The flamingo one was kind of silly, but again, just fantastic animation, great musical selections. I hope that one day we can bring back Fantasia and do another one just like it. I thought it was great. I thought it was one of Disney's best ideas, and I would love for them to reincorporate it into a future film. Please. Let's go to number 17. What should I put for number 17? That's where it gets really hard, guys. Where do I put for number 17? Number 17. What am I going to put? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Number 17, Bambi. Sorry, Bambi to me is not a top 10 Disney film, but it's still an amazing Disney film. It should be remembered, and it has probably one of the darkest moments in any Disney film. Like that's the that's the shot heard around the world. Forget the Battle of Lexington. That's the shot. Mother, we made it. Mother, mother. Him shouting out into the void of the forest as it snows and it's dark and heavy. And then his father shows up and is like, "Mother's not coming. Come with me. I'll teach you how to be a buck." And that's how his childhood comes to an end and he becomes a man. There's a bit of symmetry with his life as well, where when he becomes a full-grown man, and then there's the forest fire scene, and then he has to watch over his child now. There's a beautiful circle of life motif to that story. But yeah, Bambi, I like Bambi. I like it a lot. Number 16. Man, we're getting really close to the finish line here. What would I put for number 16, though? Number 16? Shoot. What am I going to put for this one? Yeah, I guess so. Number 16 is actually Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph was kind of a breath of fresh air in the sense that, a villain was the main character of the story, and you got an inside look to what it feels like to be the villain. even though you're not that bad of a guy. I like that they kind of explored that angle with villainry. So right off the bat, I found the story and the concept interesting. The writing is solid. Wrote some great jokes, especially the candy puns. I'll never forget those candy puns. They were fantastic. My only gripe, really, with the film is that it took place in Sugar Rush for most of the film. I would have loved if they did the whole jumping around from game to game. Kind of like how in Ralph Breaks the Internet, they do jump around from one website to the next. But maybe it's because of the fact that they kept it kind of centered on 3 games in total that it works better as a film. The friendship between Ralph and Vanellope is just so adorable. Vanellope Von Sweets is one of the most adorable characters Disney has ever made. And I know a lot of people don't like Sarah Silverman. She's too annoying. She was perfect for that role. All right. I thought she pulled off that little charming, annoying ragamuffin character quite well. And at least she didn't talk about her vagina this time, you know? Also, love the fact that the theme song for Sugar Rush was actually sung by a J-pop group, AK 0048, I believe is their name. They SUGAR, jump into a racing car, the Sugar Rush, Sugar Rush. Oh man, and the villain. That's the best twist villain Disney has ever done, hands down. I don't know how I didn't see it come. I don't know how I didn't see it coming. They built it up so perfectly. It's almost mind blowing. I didn't even notice it. So yeah, Wreck-It Ralph number 16. What about number 15? What am I gonna do with number 15? Let me see. Shoot. I don't know. That's a hard one. Number 15? I think I will put. Yeah, I'll put this at number 15. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Another highly underrated Disney film, one of the darkest Disney films. Beautiful animation, great musical numbers, a very sympathetic main character. Esmeralda is a surprisingly strong character as well. The warrior guy that's voiced by Kevin Kline, I could do without, so too the Gargoyles, but has one of the best Disney villains of all time in Judge Frollo. He steals the show. He's the most intriguing character, and My God, Hellfire is one of the darkest Disney songs of all time. All right, but yeah, number 15 definitely. Trying to rush through this so we can, call it a night. We've been here for quite a while, so. Number 14. What should I put at number 14? I'm going to put. Yeah, you know what? I am definitely going to put that here. Number 14 is Hercules. It's kind of weird that I do put this over. You know what? Let me think this through. No, I'm switching. Hercules and the Hunchback. Hercules is now 15. Hunchback is 14. I think Hercules is a funner film than Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it's not a better film than Hunchback of Notre Dame. I will say, has the funniest solo villain character in Hades, voiced excellently by James Woods. What's it called? Meg is fantastic. The Pantheon of Gods are great. Phil is amazing. The Pegasus is great. The singing muses are amazing. I love that angle, and I love the fact that the way that they tell their stories is through the gospel, which is fantastic. Really, the only thing that's holding back Hercules is the main character. He's not too bland. He's just not. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. He has a great arc. Well, no, not great. I would say it's a really good arc. But yeah, he really holds the film back from being great. But yeah, I put it at number 15. So let's go to number 13 now. Let's see, number 13. What am I going to put for number 13? Ooh. getting down to the nitty gritty here. What am I going to put at number 13? Fudge. I don't know. I don't know. Oh no, man. This is screw it. I don't care. I'm putting it as a number 13, whether you like it or not. Peter Pan. I know Peter Pan's iconic. I know it's highly celebrated. Maybe it deserves to be higher, but for me personally, I put it at number 13. But yes, this is a very fun adventure film. Peter Pan is a wonderful character. Wendy is great, and her siblings as well. The Native American scene, though, yeah, hard to talk about. Captain Hook is a fantastic villain too. He's almost as funny, I would say, as Hades. He's not very threatening, and his psychic Shmi and the crocodile is sweet, and of course Tinkerbell, probably the most iconic character to come from Peter Pan. And you see her at the opening of most Disney films when she goes over the castle to make the arch. So yeah, number 13, I definitely put Peter Pan. Number 12. What do I do with number 12? I would say, yeah, I definitely would say. Number 12 is Lilo and Stitch. This is the only good film to come out of the early 2000s for Disney. And it was a breath of fresh air, too. This was the first sci-fi film that Disney Animation made. Think about it. What other sci-fi film did they do? I mean, you could argue maybe Atlantis, although I would argue that's more science fiction adventure, but this is when they started to dip their toes into the science fiction realm. And Lilo and Stitch is just a charming story about this little girl raised on an island that meets this wild beast, this animal, and raises it as a dog. The commercials for Lilo and Stitch, by the way, were fantastic. That's back when Disney actually gave a damn about their advertisements. I liked how Stitch would pop up in these iconic Disney scenes and ruin them. Like the Beauty and the Beast one, I remember that. I remember he takes Jasmine from Aladdin. There was the Little Mermaid scene where he like rides in a wave and Ariel slaps him. He's like, why don't you get your own movie? Lilo and Stitch is just a charming film. It has some really wonderful music. This was Moana before Moana showed up, although it didn't really center so much about the island lifestyle, but it was the first time I ever saw it on the big screen, which delighted me a lot. The story about how Lilo and Nani lost their family, it's a very relatable story because the number one cause of death on Guam are car accidents. And most of our car accidents happen in the rain. So it hit pretty close to home the way that their parents died. So yeah. But other than that, and not only that, this has some of the best action in any Disney film. Like, my God, the action is so thrilling to watch. Yeah, number 12 definitely. Number 12 definitely. Let's see. Number 11, this one's kind of an obvious choice for me as well. I'm going with Frozen. I know a lot of you don't like Frozen. You think it's overrated. You think it's overhyped. You think it's not worthy. But damn it, dude, Frozen changed the game. All right? Frozen changed the game. For the longest time, when it came to the concept of love in Disney films, it was always something that was of a romantic nature and never something that could have been platonic or sibling based. Frozen changed all that, and it has some of the best music Disney has ever produced. I remember someone saying that it was the Lion King of their generation, and at first I thought, okay, well, that's kind of jumping it a bit. It's nowhere close to the Lion King, but after years of thinking about it, and in hindsight, there's some what's it called? I forgot what the phrase is for that. There's some weight to that comment now. And while I don't think it's as good as The Lion King, clearly it's before it, I would say Frozen can hold its own with a lot of the Disney Renaissance films. The voice acting is great, the animation is spectacular, the writing is solid, and Let It Go, sing my heart away, you wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. So yes, with that said, now we're in the top 10. We're about to finish this, guys, I promise. Here we go. I know it's 1 o'clock there. Hang in there. We're almost there, guys. We're almost at the finish line. Here we go. We're in the top 10. Now, what makes up the top 10? What's number 10? I would say number 10 is Cinderella. The most iconic Disney princess, probably still the most popular Disney princess. I don't think she should be, but oh, I love that it's like greatest since Snow White. That's interesting. But she has one of the most iconic Disney dresses. This was the film that really connected with Walt Disney. And again, this is kind of one of those pivotal Disney films. When you think about Disney, you think about Cinderella. All the films in the top 10, when you think about Disney, you think about these films first. These are the films that are like, oh yeah, that film. Oh yeah, this film. And her dress is the most iconic dress of all time. The fairy godmother thing. Everybody has done the fairy godmother thing, and it's because of Cinderella. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, great song. The whole having animal companions. Well, I mean, you could almost chalk that up to Snow White. But I think Cinderella was the one that really nailed it in. The whole midnight thing where like when the clock strikes midnight, everything resorts back to the whole thing. The evil stepmother, iconic Disney villain, wonderful Disney villain. Yeah, definitely number 10. It deserves to be number 10. I know that I don't really like the prince, nor do I like the relationship between him and Cinderella, but the significance of Cinderella is why it deserves to be in the top 10. It is a significant and pivotal Disney film. All right, number 9. I'm actually going to do. I mentioned this in my. I mentioned this when I did the Collider video, but number 9 is Zootopia. I said that Zootopia belonged in the top 10, and I wasn't lying. Zootopia is the greatest modern Disney film. Like, it's funny, it's touching, it's heartbreaking. The social commentary when it comes to racial profiling is not only relevant to today, but has been a relevant topic for the last 50 years. The dynamic between Nick and Judy is fantastic. All right, just a great, they're probably the greatest duo in Disney history. Probably. I only say probably because I don't know if anybody on the list might be a duo too. Let me see. No, I take that back. They are the greatest Disney duo. I'm saying it right here. Really, the one thing that only irritated me was actually the Jaguar character, but even he served a purpose to the story. I like the concept of Zootopia, the city of Zootopia, I mean, the concept of it, like it has like different sections that fit certain types of animals' natural habitats, which is great. I would have loved to explore those even more. Hopefully we get a sequel and we can explore that more. Yeah, it's a great film. Great writing, great direction, great humor, great characters. Overall, it's a great film. And I also thought that the twist villain, it made a lot of sense. I know some people found it to be obvious. I thought it was great. You know, it is sort of obvious. I called it halfway through the film when I was like thinking to myself, why is that character here? I bet you there's a darker, ulterior motive to this character's motives, right? So, yeah, number 9, definitely Zootopia. Number 8. What am I putting at number 8? Let's see. I'm going to put, yeah, let's put that. Number 8 is going to be Arabian Nights, like Arabian Days. I mean, I kind of sung its praises multiple times, and I've said this for other films as well. I'm probably going to say the same thing about this film as many of the other films on the list, but my God, Aladdin, Mm, great music, iconic music, a fantastic, superb, phenomenal performance by Robin Williams as the genie. He steals the show in the most literal sense. Aladdin is actually a pretty good main character as well. He's an interesting character. His background, where he comes from, is it makes him much more enthralling as a main character. His relationship with Jasmine is actually stronger than Jasmine as a character. It's the one thing that really defines Jasmine outside of the fact that she doesn't want to be married away. Um, Jafar is a great villain. Iago is a bit annoying, but is perfect as psychic. Animation is great. I mean, what else could be said about Aladdin that hasn't been said already? Aladdin is fantastic. A Whole New World is one of the greatest duets of all time. All right. Number 7, Lion King. No, I'm just kidding. Number 7, I'm going to pick. What am I going to pick for number 7? Yeah, let's go with that. Number 7 is look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. I know some people might think that this is way too high of a placement, but keep in mind, The Jungle Book was not only the last movie that Walt Disney worked on personally, like he was there from beginning to end, he just wasn't there for its release. But when you think Disney, you can't help but think about the bare necessities. You can't help but think about Mowgli. You can't help but think about Baloo and Shere Khan, Bagheera, King Louie. Ooby doo, I want to be like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you. Shere Khan, one of the most menacing Disney villains of all time. Perfectly done. He's never treated as a joke at all. He has this air to him. He holds himself to a higher degree, and it's like fantastic to watch. Yeah, definitely. And keep in mind, Jungle Book was actually the 4th highest grossing film that Disney ever made before, of course, the Disney Renaissance came around. The 4th highest grossing. Okay, so it was a smash hit for Disney. It's very relevant to Disney's history, and you can't tell the story of Disney without mentioning the Jungle Book somewhere in there. I will say, Mowgli, yeah, kind of a weak main character, but there are so many other great characters to kind of supplement his weakness that I would say, yeah, I definitely would put this at number 7. Number 6. Man, we're getting really close to it, aren't we? What would number 6 be? Yeah, let's put that. Number 6 is The Little Mermaid, the film that saved Disney's ass. If it wasn't for this film, Disney probably would have folded under. They wouldn't be making the iconic films that they have been making today, and it is solely responsible for the start of what will later be dubbed the Disney Renaissance. What hasn't been said about The Little Mermaid? Iconic musical numbers, refreshing musical numbers. The music that they were making in The Little Mermaid was music no one's ever heard before, at least in a Disney film. Like, bringing musical theater to Disney was the most brilliant idea outside of, I think that's it. That was the most brilliant idea that they ever had in the integration of musical theater elements into Disney films. Howard Ashman's masterpiece, outside of another film that we'll get to real soon, I mean, the story of Ariel, who yearns to be part of this bland human's world. I know I keep picking on Eric. He is bland and forgettable, but outside of Eric, everything else is just fantastic. Ariel is a great lead, great Disney princess voice, or has one of the greatest voices of any Disney princess. Her flowing red hair in the water is amazing to look at. That goes back to the animation. There's just so many iconic scenes in The Little Mermaid. Outside of Under the Sea, Kiss the Girl, that scene where she's like, I don't know when, I don't know how. I love that scene. Or when she was singing to Eric after saving him from drowning, I guess. Oh, man. Yeah. Number 6. Now we're in the top 5, guys. The top five. What will I place in the top five? Number five, I'm going to put. Oof, it's hard. Number five, I'm going to put Pinocchio. All right. This is the. If there was a movie to ever personify Disney, it'd be Pinocchio. All right. When you wish upon a star is the mantra of Disney. It's about making kids' wishes, their dreams come true. And Pinocchio is the, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's the physical manifestation of that dream coming true, you know? And it's just a beautiful story about a wooden boy that wants to be a real boy, but he has to go through certain trials in order to earn the right to be a real boy. And Jiminy Cricket serves as his conscience. And it actually, it's a great story about how kids are. Hold on for a second. Like, Pinocchio is just gullible from the get-go. He gets tricked by a fox and a cat, I think. Gets tricked by a fox and a cat to go on the road and like do all these shows. Then he gets tricked into following this one kid to this carnival where he starts turning into a donkey, which is terrifying, you know. And then he was able to escape that. Then he has to face a whale. I mean, wow. And all this time, Geppetto, this poor Geppetto, man, just trying to find his lost boy, his wooden Pinocchio. And the climax of the film is fantastic with the gigantic sperm whale. Whew, intense. And I honestly thought that Pinocchio died if it wasn't for the fairy godmother, you know, coming out of nowhere, resurrecting him and turning him into a real boy. Hopefully he learned his lesson through his journey and he's not going to be as gullible as before. Well, you know, time will only tell. All right. Yeah, number five. Number four. What am I going to put at number four? You know, this might shock you guys, what I'm going to put at number four. Let me see my list. No, I think, yeah. Okay, number four is definitely Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, you all know, I really don't like this film. You know, the story is fine, and the characters are fine outside of Snow White and the Prince. You know, I have a lot of issues with this film. But the significance of the film itself is why it's number four. If it wasn't for this film, we wouldn't be here talking about Disney the way we are right now. It was a huge gamble. It cost Disney nearly everything. It was a huge risk, and it paid off in flying colors. And I'm so glad Disney was willing to take the chance. It was great, you know? And it has some of the most iconic scenes, the most iconic songs. Whistle While You Work, The Seven Dwarfs, what's it called? Someday My Prince Will Come is actually an iconic song. And then, of course, there's the evil witch. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's fairest of them all? The poison apple, right? The fact that she's woken up by a kiss from the prince. You know how I feel about that. This film may not be the greatest Disney film ever made, but it's definitely the most important Disney film ever made. And if you put your bias aside about the quality of the film and some things here and there, and just take into consideration the path this film made for Disney, it deserves to be in the top five, no matter how you feel. And you know, I don't like this film as much. I would prefer any of the other choices before this film. But it is a landmark film, and it deserves to be in the top five. Number three, oof. Oh man, we're really. Yeah, definitely. You know what? This is going to shock all of you, but number three, The Lion King. What? It's not number one? Yeah, it's not number one. there are two movies I think that are better than The Lion King. I'm sorry. But that doesn't mean I hate it's in the guys, it's in the top three. Okay, it's in the top three. At this point, three, two, one can be interchangeable in my opinion. But if we're gonna really start pulling hairs, definitely top three. All right, and Lion King is a top three Disney film, whether you agree or not. All right, whether you agree or not. You know, when most people think about Disney, they think back to The Lion King. It was the most successful 2D animated film of all time. I think it still is the most successful 2D animated film of all time. You know, forget the 2019 remake, forget all the sequels. Just think about this. The opening alone is top 10 worthy. The opening alone is top 10 worthy. The Savannah, that right there, like, boom, it already cemented its place in Disney history with that iconic opening number. You can't even think about The Lion King without first thinking about the Circle of Life. Then you think about Hakuna Matata. Then you think about Just Can't Wait to Be King. Then you think about Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Then you think about Be Prepared. Then you think about, oh man, what else? Other songs are in there. You think of the Luau scene, you know? It's just a fantastic film. Simba is a great character, in my opinion. I like his growth. All of the side characters are amazing. Not one of them I feel like are unnecessary, maybe outside of Nala. But even Nala, as much as I give her a lot of crap, she does serve a purpose. She helps to kind of push the story forward in a way, you know, but she could have been better. She could have been better. Sarabi, the mother, while she doesn't show up that much, she does play a pivotal role in Simba's life, as well as when it comes to the dominion over the Pride Lands. I mean, what else can I say about the film? The animation's great, the music's great, the writing's spectacular, the direction's great. Fantastic film, definitely top three. So what could be number two? What's number two on my list? Well, for me, it's a toss-up. It's really hard, but I would have to say number two is Fantasia. This was Disney's biggest risk, and unfortunately, it never paid off. I wish it did, but my God, is this one of this movie? It deserves to be in like an art museum as a spectacular work of art. Blending classical music with Disney animation was the best idea Disney had ever come up with. And that's like after he did Snow White, that's after he did Pinocchio, all of the films, like this was his best idea. And I actually like the fact that he wanted to do this as a series of films. I'm sad that he wasn't able to accomplish it because it was such a box office failure, but my God, animation is spectacular. All right, you have some of the most iconic animations of all time. I mean, don't tell me you don't think about The Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's the one thing people think about when they think about Mickey Mouse, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Don't tell me you don't think about The Night on Bald Mountain. You know, with the demons dancing and the gigantic monster, and you hear the somber music as they're like leading up to the mountain. Just so great. Which means that number one, I guess to no surprise, is actually, right, I'm closing this one. Number one for me is Beauty and the Beast. That's the one that's left. It is the only Disney animated film to receive a nomination for Best Picture, and deservingly so. This is a beautiful film. When I think of Disney, I think back to Beauty and the Beast. Not only that, this was the last film. Howard Ashman, one of the men, I would even say the man responsible for saving Disney's ass. This was the last film he ever got to work on. And he was actually, I found this out years later, but he was an executive producer on this film. And they would actually fly out to his house to work on the film with him. And I could sing this film's praises all day long. Belle is the best Disney princess of all time. There's no argument. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to hear it. Belle is the best Disney princess of all time. I don't want to hear it. Okay? The Beauty and the Beast song is fantastic. I prefer the pop version over the theatrical version, but both of them are really good. The relationship between Belle and the Beast, some people say that it's Stockholm Syndrome, and I can kind of see that, but I like how they naturally grew closer. I think the one issue I did have is that because it's a film, we didn't get to see it grow further and further and further and further, but, we didn't really, the timing of it all. And the iconic scenes. I mean, where did you start? The opening, Belle. You remember that, where she's walking through the city and everyone's like, that's a strange girl, that Belle. Gaston, the musical number of Gaston. The archetypal hero that, how do I phrase this? In another movie, Gaston would have been the hero. You know this to be a fact. We've heard it many a times before, but it's true. In another movie, if this wasn't Beauty and the Beast, Gaston would have been the hero that saves the poor damsel from the terrible, frightening beast. The fact that this was such a 180, this is a film that kind of bucked that trend and said beauty's more of within. The subtle storytelling through the animation, too, is fantastic. The more and more I think about how great this film, the more and more it disgusts me that they even thought about remaking it. Because this film, while only being like close to 90 minutes long, told a better, more coherent story than that remake could ever do. All right? And in my opinion, it is the quintessential Disney film and the number one Disney film. Thank you. Whoo! Man, that was a lot. So, what you think, guys? Did I nail this one? Did I get it?
Oh, I see that my comment section is blowing up right now. Can't even keep track of the comments here. But I'm about to end the stream, so that was my ranking of all the Disney films. I may post the listing of these films somewhere else, but yeah, as it stands now, that was the listing for me. All right, and do let me know what you guys thought about the listing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do stay tuned. I hope to make some more videos. I have to go because my girlfriend is actually messaging in the comments like, where in the hell are you going to get home? So, but I might look back at this video and check out unpopular opinion. Belle is not my favorite Disney princess. Well, coming from a Frozen 2 fan, 2004, I could imagine that maybe Elsa or Anna is one of your favorite princess. I'm so glad to see you're still making videos, Tony. Well, thank you, Ian. Long time no see, buddy. Ooh. I managed to watch this entire video to the very end. Well done, Anthony. Well done. I disagree with a few choices, but a very good list overall. Your top 10 would be very close to mine. Hey, there you go. By the way, I should say, who do you think did it better? Did I do it better, or did Collider do it better? Compare the two. You never let me know what you think between the two of us. Who did it better? It's me. It's me. I did it better. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry I didn't get to interact with the comment section. We need a Pixar one now. You know what, Vicstar? We may do a Pixar one in the future. If you guys are interested in it, I'll do a Pixar one. You know, I'm a late nighter, so it's okay. I'm glad you gave the classics, 40s and 50s Disney films respect. Hey, everyone thought I was just going to put a bunch of Disney Renaissance films. No, that's not going to happen. I'm more, I see the grander scope of things. And when you come to the top 10, it's a mix of the old and the new. All right? You easy. Oh, hey, oh, thank you. Great job, Tony. You did better. Come on now. Seriously, forget you, Collider. You know what? Just to stick it to them, guys, you should send them this video. Send Collider this video. I would love to see their reaction to this video if they can watch any of it. But yeah, I would love to see their reaction. But yeah, so it's about almost 4:30 here, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right here. It's been freaking, we did this for 3 hours. Holy hell. 3 hours long. I'm sorry that it was so long, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad that we were able to bond for one last time before the end of BCG Disney Week. Let me know, by the way, I'll send a post on my Facebook or my Twitter, both of them. I'll ask you guys to rate my success for BCG Disney Week. Usually in a live chat like this, I do the rate my success. I'll just do that on Facebook and Twitter. But thank you guys for watching. I'm so excited that Disney Week was a success. And I did the whole week, not just one day or 3 days. I did the whole week. I'm so proud of myself. Thank you once again. And as always, guys, if you like some more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic Crew, hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And of course, I'm Tony Wise II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.